course, I got in about 2 in the morning last night. Do I look like Lubie? Good morning, by the way.
You look
Do I
good.
look like I need a cut, man?
You look good. I'm proud of you. You're like ready. You're on time. All the guys there didn't have to stress out waiting for you. Look at you. A new day.
I'm a professional. There's no question about it. And I don't like to lose a job on the first day of the job.
That'd be good.
Which is ugly. Because we already lost one job, and we got fired by Fox. And in fact, you and I, Lubie, are the only starters that were ever beaten out for a job by Brady. You can kind of wrap your arms around that concept. Florida, which is in the state of Florida, has been in the Stone Age forever. I mean, we're still operating by blue laws. I don't even know if you can buy a beer before 12 o'clock on a Sunday. I'm not sure what religious cult is responsible for the legislation that takes place, but essentially Florida is structured this way. We're here in South Florida, which is very hip and up with modern times. And once you get, would you say, north of Palm Beach, Mike Lubitz, West Palm Beach, Florida, for those unfamiliar with the geography of the state, if you get like 30 miles out of town here, forget about it. It's Hillbilly City. You're hearing banjo music and somebody's telling you to squat down like a pig when you pull up to the Waffle House. It's just the way it is. Leslie Visser, a lovely and talented one. I mean, the first woman and for a long time, the only woman. There are now two in the NFL Hall of Fame. I mean, in there with all of the greats. Well, once again, everybody, great to be with you here on ION Channel. Jeff Deforrest, Mike Lubitz. It's the Defo Show with Mike Lubitz. And we'll be with you today a little overtime as Tony Segreto is going to join us after 9 o'clock for Old School with Tony Segreto. Always fun talking with Tony, who, wow, I mean, he represents a lot of the things that we just like to refute here on the show on a regular basis. But good to have you guys with us. A beautiful day in South Florida yesterday. That's where we originate from. And Jack Namer tells me we're picking up steam all over the country, Lubie. That was certainly very encouraging. Yes. Says we're big in New York and Santa Fe, New Mexico, which is, hey, look, I always thought very highly of the people of New Mexico and, often thought about moving. No, that's not necessarily a place I ever thought about moving to. If you like turquoise, I guess, right? Exactly. New Mexico, the place to go, and maybe tumbleweed. No, we love you people out there in Santa Fe, and I know it's a very nice place. A lot of people love it, and certainly New York. We have ties to New York City. Grew up in New York. I was a Brooklyn boy till I was 11 years old, then moved to Long Island, Belmore, Long Island on the South Shore, and that was an eye-opener because all of a sudden, instead of playing on concrete and broken glass, there were beautiful manicured fields. I literally was like dying and going to heaven, and really enjoyed all of that. And basketball was big out there. We're playing hoops every day, and that was good times. I used to shovel the snow out of the driveway or whatever court you were on and clear a little patch there. And that's how I ended up going all left. Although I'm in a dispute with a friend of mine, a guy named Zach Albahay, who I went to high school with. And he claims I only went to my right, which I know for a fact is not true. He said I had that Cochise move where I just used to dribble around in circles. I didn't dribble the ball a lot. As soon as I got my hands on it, I was shooting it. And that was it. But it was a great upbringing and a great background in sports. I don't know how it is. You grew up in South Florida, Lubie. And
yes, I did.
I don't know that you had that same feeling about the sporting life. I'm not sure exactly. How did people congregate and play games? Did you go to the park and play hoops all the time? Or what was your regular go-to sport?
We played in front of the house. My parents put up a basketball hoop when I was 10, so we played basketball. Since I was 6, we played football. My dad and I would run routes when I was like 6 years old, and I was playing baseball since I was 3. So we played everything here. I lived in a neighborhood, like I guess you lived when you were older in Long Island, but there was a ton of kids in the neighborhood, and we always played outside all the time until like the lights would come on, and my mom would yell for dinner. It was like the 60s. Like I grew up in the 90s, but it still felt very similar to like the way you were growing up. When you would tell your stories, that's exactly what I did. My mom would go, dinner, and we go, okay, Mom, and we play for like another half an hour, and she'd have to like chase us down. Like it was like a whole thing.
My mother, may she rest in peace, passed away in late June of this year, and was almost, well, she was heading in on 98 years old, so she lived a good life. And she was great, but she put up with a lot of crap. And we also want to compliment the people that are tuning in to the first hour replay on WWNN in Fort Lauderdale. And many people are happy to have us back on some form of terrestrial radio here in town.
There you go.
And of course, we're telling our sponsors, "Oh yeah, we're on the radio. Just plug it right in there." And it doesn't matter that I don't know if the listenership is all that high, but hopefully we can improve on that. I think we're sandwiched in between a real estate guy and some guy that is selling reverse mortgages.
That's about right.
WWNN. But very happy here. Oh, I mentioned Zach Albe. He says he's tuned in at 12 o'clock. That's how he's catching us, because a lot of people, I don't know why. Why aren't they sophisticated enough to catch us on Ion Channel, Mike Lubie Lubitz? That seems like a horrifying concept to a lot of people. How do I get it? What do I do? I'm as challenged as anybody when it comes to any kind of technology, and certainly don't want to embrace what's going on in the world today, where you have 6 people at a dinner table and they're all on their cell phones.
That's true.
I was at that thing. It was supposed to be like a Thomas Jefferson type of dinner. I remember I was describing that at the Capitol Grill in Boca Raton, where we tried to steal 2 bottles of wine out of Brett Tesler's locker. He has one of those lockers there. How much are those? Where you keep your own wine in a locker, and then what do they whack you for on the check when you break out your own bottle of wine? You know they're not letting that go.
Nope.
Yeah, well, it's $100 cork charge.
Yep.
Cork fee was always one of my favorite terms.
Yes.
There's another 2-word grouping that you want to dodge. Much like 7 Out and Market Price and all of those things. Cork fee. I think they call it corkage fee, where they open a bottle of wine for you and it costs you $20, even though you brought the bottle of wine. That's like when they charge you $20 to cook your own fish that you just caught. Right?
Exactly.
Certain places do that.
Yeah.
But the fish on the menu was only like $19. You bring your own. You're out there. You had to pay for the gas for the boat and the whole thing. Spend that horrific day on the water, throwing up all over the place, gargling with Dramamine, and then they whack you for $20 when you brought the fish in. But yeah, cork fee is always a troubling thing. And I tried to break into Brett's locker there. Brett Tesler, the agent of the stars, who was on the show with us yesterday. And he said he wouldn't have minded if we stole a couple of bottles of Rumbauer out of there. Rumbauer, of course, the horse that ended up winning the Belmont Stakes, Mike Lubie Lubitz. That's how I know about that brand of wine. Anyway, we're here on Ion Channel. It's not hard to click us on, ionchannel.com. And then tomorrow, a bold experiment will take place here on the show as we venture out to Hialeah Park, one of my favorite destinations on the tour, one of our fine sponsors, longtime backers of anything I've done. And I couldn't appreciate these people any more than I do. And I'm glad that they're going to be the guinea pig, so to speak, for our first outside venture when we'll bring you the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. And Jack and his people are going to be on the scene there under the cover of darkness. I have to get that thing going early, but that'll be 7 to 9 tomorrow here on the show. Leave it to us. And we've talked about this many times, Mike Lubie Lubitz, about the curse of Rachel Nichols.
First time here.
Curse of Rachel Nichols, where and Rachel Nichols may be a very fine person. She, of course, was featured on ESPN. She was their #1 basketball correspondent there for a while, and she was hosting the NBA Finals before, unfortunately for her, a kind of Gruden thing happened where a telephone conversation was leaked. I don't know if it was text. I think it was a recorded conversation, which was obviously recorded illegally. She couldn't have possibly been aware that this telephone call was being recorded. So a lot of shady elements to this whole thing. The way that ESPN dispatches of its people and casts certain people aside. You think if Stephen A. Smith got into some kind of jackpot like this, spat with another coworker, and some phone calls were leaked out, I can't imagine that Stephen A. hasn't said something, just like all of us, at some point in time, that if taken out of context, or even in context for that matter, what would not be particularly flattering to the image of what kind of person you really are, right? I mean, I don't know. Is Gruden a racist, or does he just talk like that? It's just words. But, today's society with the cancel culture that's out there, you're going to get canceled, depending on who you are. Now, Gruden, I mean, there was just an overwhelming amount of stuff there that the NFL obviously couldn't attach its name to. And the Las Vegas Raiders, well, in Las Vegas, I don't know. I guess that stuff would have been kind of temperate, wouldn't it?
Yeah, probably.
I don't know. They might have thought, hey, this guy would make a great lounge act. Next thing you know, he's at Circus, handing out shrimp cocktails and inviting him, come on in, comedy show. Okay, Johnny.
Exactly.
But, Rachel Nichols got in a jackpot and got in a spat. This Maria Taylor, who's now with NBC, she left in the middle of the postseason there with the NBA. I guess she hosted the finals. And then, like, the next day with no non-compete clause. She didn't have one of those onerous non-compete clauses in her contract. which does seem like a hideous concept, does it not? I guess you could make a case for the company every now and then, but not in this business. I mean, they claim that they invested millions of dollars in promoting your image and likeness,
Yeah, okay.
very much like the college football thing, where
Yeah.
they now need to be protected, so you can't work for the next 6 years. That's usually
Exactly.
the way it works, right? They fire you, and then you get a job, and they turn around and go, "Oh, no, you can't work there. We made you who you are today. Yeah, you also crushed me like a grape. Every one of my
Exactly.
dreams and hopes. I haven't been paid for months, and you're going to try and
Kidding
stiff
me?
me so that I can't work this job? A ridiculous concept,
Yep.
in my opinion. Now, if you're holding trade secrets or something, and maybe you have the recipe for some kind of funky banana flavor of Ben and Jerry's ice cream, and you're an employee there. They don't want you running off to some other company and turning them on to how to make the ice cream and have it be, a cheaper, better product. So it might be something that would be reasonably enforceable in that situation, especially if you walked away with a big pile of cash. But that's usually not the case here. Anyway, Maria Taylor was on NBC doing the Olympic coverage like the day after. I think they flew her straight from the
Yep.
NBA Finals, the last game of the championship run there, and straight out to the Olympic site, and she was hosting the Olympics on NBC. Now, the problem that we had, and I don't know if this is a consistent pattern because it involved a friend of ours, a guy named Dave Lamont, who is from Florida, and he was on some conference call with like 100 ESPN employees during the whole COVID, the height of the COVID thing, when nobody went anywhere.
Yep.
And he was mumbling something aside to his wife, just a comment that Maria Taylor took exception with. And the next thing you know, I don't know, has Dave worked for ESPN again
No.
since that time?
Nope.
They didn't officially fire the guy, but I don't know that he's done a game since. And he was a pretty steady regular, very, very good play-by-play announcer. Canceled because he said something that Maria Taylor apparently took exception to. So now, did she sandbag Rachel Nichols in this case? All of a
Yes.
sudden, and it's very much like you had that guy, Jerry Adler, I believe his name was, with the ESPN, the guy that said Venus Williams was using guerrilla tactics as she was approaching the net.
Which is a tennis
Now,
term.
anybody would know that he was not implying that Venus Williams, a black female, is, a person that looks like a gorilla because she's black. No, nobody would have thought that this guy said that.
I mean,
or
that's a
meant
sports term. It means being aggressive. That's literally what that means.
Guerrilla
That's-
tactics, yeah. You're on the court there. All of a sudden, you're charging the net all the time. You're hammering away. You're hitting nothing but bombs. It's guerrilla tactics, right? Not hitting a little slice and dice. I mean, that would be Vegematic tactics.
Exactly. Exactly.
I try to use on my opponents. Doesn't work on a fast young kid. I got smoked last night again by the Jets man out there on the tennis courts. But anyway, this guy Adler, because he wasn't a big deal, canned and never worked again, really. His career was ruined because of this one comment that was picked up by somebody in the New York Times and said, "Oh, can you believe he said this about Venus Williams, guerrilla tactics?" Which, I mean, it was a ridiculous thing. And we've seen any number of people incur the same kind of problem over the years where they've been crucified and never worked again. Depends on who you are.
Yes.
So in the case of Rachel Nichols, I don't know. She was pretty up, in the lofty elements of the hierarchy there when it came to how she was regarded. But, I mean, she must have fallen into disfavor with somebody because vanished from the scene. Rachel Nichols, after Maria Taylor or whoever leaked this conversation out where she was criticizing ESPN's policies on diversity and essentially was saying, I'm not going to let that black woman take my job just because ESPN is sensitive to the fact that they've been hosing these people forever. So that's it, gone. And what we often thought, and I'm sure she's a very lovely person, Rachel Nichols, she worked down here at the Sun Sentinel for a while. A lot of our guys from the Sun Sentinel were contemporaries of Rachel Nichols, speak very highly of her. And she had moved her way up the ranks. Not an easy thing to do for a woman in professional sports. We've talked about that many times with the lovely and talented Leslie Visser and various people that we've had on the program. And they faced a lot of different obstacles in being a female or being a black person or being a minority, so to speak. I don't even consider minorities minorities. I mean, people are just people to me. That's always the way I felt. So I don't know. It's so crazy that we have to categorize everybody. It doesn't make any difference. I mean, look, we know that there's been discrimination and that many people have been held back. Women, black people, Hispanics, whatever. Happy to see them emerging on the scene there. Many do a marvelous job. And
Yes.
Rachel Nichols, by and large, was very good at what she did, except we considered her to be a human jinx.
There you go. That's where this all started.
That's what this is all about.
You brought it back.
We considered her to be a human jinx because it was a common thread. It's kind of
We
like
consider her-
the
she was a
professor
jinx.
picked it. What's that?
She was a jinx. We didn't consider her anything. I mean, we did vast amounts of research. We had a nice sample size. She was a jinx. I mean, it wasn't to be mean. She just was. She was a jinx.
LeBron James would sit down with her, and the very next game he would blow out a hamstring, be out for 40 games. Carmelo would sit down with her, and his wife would leave him, and he would be found in the gutter, penniless, face down, in a doorway, sleeping on a piece of cardboard outside a subway station in New York. It would just whoever she had on as an interview, and she got great interviews and did a good job with them. But whoever she had on usually met with some kind of tragedy within a short period of time thereafter. Now, we've been just the opposite on this show. So if you're thinking about if you're a celebrity or some kind of superstar and you're thinking about coming on this show, feel free to come on because your career will blossom right after your appearance here on the program. And it's happened many times. Tom Rinaldi, a relatively obscure reporter for ESPN, what was he known for? He was known for that fluff interview he did with Tiger Woods. Tiger would only talk to Rinaldi. Because and we love Rinaldi, but it was true. I mean, it wasn't exactly like Rinaldi was asking Tiger Woods very challenging questions. He would kind of go, "Woman, what woman?" You know, never mind like the 40 chicks, Tiger, that Elon took exception about, and he would just ignore that. And I do remember specifically, and this struck me. There was a shadowy figure running out of Tiger Woods' home, which was just off one of the golf courses he was playing, where Rinaldi nabbed him after one of his many injuries that he was coming back from. And it was the shadowy figure of one Dr. Galea, who was known. I mean, this guy was wanted in every country in the world for distributing illegal steroids. And do you think Tom would have asked him, hey Tiger, who's that? Lance Armstrong didn't have as much juice in him as Tiger Woods probably did. I don't know that I want to make that a statement, but that was my sort of conclusion after seeing all the different things that had happened with this guy. And sure enough, I mean, all Tom came up with was, well, you shot an 87 today, but what positives did you take away from that, Tiger? Like, positives? I should have hit him over the head with a 3-wood. But that was the kind of fluff interview he was doing. But Rinaldi comes on the show, and it was a relatively obscure guy. Next thing you know, although has he disappeared? Does Fox use this guy at all? He went from ESPN to Fox. He catapulted to one of the top positions at ESPN. He's producing movies, doing all kinds of stuff. He's starring in like the next Russell Crowe film. There was nothing that didn't come Tom Rinaldi's way after he made an appearance on the program. Iron Eagle, I guess he was going to get there anyway, but
he was already big.
His career certainly catapulted into really high places after he started appearing regularly on this program. We can't take any credit for it. But we can't deny that we would like to.
Exactly.
Nichols, on the other hand, was just a burial, an absolute burial for anybody that came in contact with her in terms of an interview. These were guys who were already established as superstar caliber people and players. And inevitably, they would run into just some crushing blow immediately thereafter. Now, there's a reason I bring all this up, Lubie, and you're probably wondering what the hell
I am wondering. It's been 20 minutes of one thread, which is even by your standards pretty impressive.
Very unusual. We haven't mentioned the World Series or anything.
No, not at all.
Here. Is this a sports show?
I'm curious.
Some kind of bizarre attempt at comedy.
That's a good way to
put it. This is not comical. I mean, it just happens to be true. So we get the bright idea. Now, we had a great interview, I would say about a year and a half ago with Joel Quenneville, the head coach of the Florida Panthers, although not sure what the ramifications of this particular incident are going to be. So I tell Lubie yesterday, hey, we ought to get Quenneville on the show because he was great, a real interesting guy. He looks like, I don't know, can I say this on the WWNN thing? He looks like a hockey hard-on, doesn't he? One of those kind of coaches. He won Stanley Cups in Chicago. They were a real tough, hard-nosed team, and he came here to bring in new discipline and kind of, straighten out what had been a very soft Panther team and core of young players that were always being blended with veteran players, but it just never worked out. it ended up tasting, like some of that mama's meatloaf, maybe that Bobby Bowden was scarfing down as he was saying, "Wow, this is delicious, ma'am. Now, would you have your son sign right here? I got the paper right here."
Exactly.
And then he would put a finger in his mouth and throw up in the bathroom before he made his way to the limousine that was taking him out of, some small town in Tennessee somewhere where he was recruiting his next superstar stud. But anyway, this led us to the idea that, hey, let's get Quenville on the show. And you made the call, and they're usually very cooperative,
Yes.
the Panther organization, very cooperative as a professional team goes. And we thought we were going to have Joel Quenville on the show. And you also, we were looking to have the lovely Jessica Blaylock, who does the baseball and hockey coverage for Bally Sports Florida and all of the Bally's organizations here that televise games in South Florida, Regional Sports Cable Network. Interesting that they're owned by a casino, which, bodes well for the direction that this show is going in also. But anyway, so she was going to come on the show today, and then I wasn't aware this was even happening. Were you? Did you hear anything about this Blackhawks organization suddenly going to go down in flames because of a sexual assault incident, which is nothing to, minimize or marginalize? But there was a guy named Stan Aldrich, was a video coach and coordinator for the Chicago Blackhawks back in 2010. And this now has led to the resignation of Stan Bowman, who is the Blackhawks' current general manager. And unfortunately for us, yes, your name was mentioned. It was a clockwork orange when it came to Joel Quenville. And he now has to face, whatever level of responsibility and try and explain how it is that he made no mention of a sexual assault that he apparently was aware of. Because they had a meeting. The story goes like this, Lubie. I don't know if you caught up with this, that there was a meeting of Bowman and Quenville was involved and several other executives and coaches with the Stanley Cup competing Chicago Blackhawks that year in 2010. And they had a meeting before the Stanley Cup finals and said, let's not say anything until it's over. Hello?
Oh,
Papa
God.
Joe?
Yeah.
I don't know that this is Sandusky-esque, but it's not going to be a popular position to have taken, not in 2021. So Quenville now on the hook, and here it is. I mean, the first time we think about getting this guy on the show.
Yep, the same day.
On the Ion channel, we're trying to impress people. Yeah, we got connections. We'll get Quenville on the show.
God.
And we did. We had a great interview with him because all of these, I don't know that it's all of them, but a lot of hockey people, NHL people, love harness racing, if you can imagine.
That's an interesting connection.
Very interesting. Do you know who... I'll give you a trivia question, Lubie. Name a very prominent goalie in NHL history. I don't know that he was Gump Worsley, but he was a good goalie that eventually became a harness driver. And the answer to that question is Gilles Villeneuve. Ever heard of Gilles Villeneuve?
Yeah, he was great.
He became, I think, a decent harness driver. Now, the other guy that made a transition to harness driving, and this is an oddball one. Remember the show, The Lone Ranger, the television show?
Yes.
Jay Silverheels. Yeah, Jay Silverheels played Tonto on that show, which I don't even know if you could have a character today without having the thing immediately canceled. And
it would be super canceled.
everybody that was on the crew is banned from going to any casino for the rest of their life also. But Jay Silverheels also became a harness driver. I don't know if he was exactly Carmine Abatello, but it's an odd move. I don't know. You think I finish this up? Maybe this segment will ruin the career finally once and for all. And I'll end up going to Pompano Harness there to try and drive the final season of harness racing that's taking place right now. That's a dying sport, much like terrestrial radio. Anyway, we're very happy to have you with us. The Braves win over the Astros last night, 6-2. They pummeled them right away. How about Charlie Morton? Old Charlie Morton. He's like 100 years old, this guy. And still brings it at like 97. He doesn't look like he's going to have an overwhelmingly, high velocity fastball. But
he's not like a big dude.
No, skinny guy, and he throws a great curveball. He's like Blyleven with a curveball. Great breaking pitch. And he's been kind of an ace for the Atlanta Braves in the postseason. He's been really steady. And, of course, he was with the Astros when they won the World Championship. In 2017, and then was with the Tampa Bay Rays and was a big part of their rotation before coming to the Braves at, I think he's 37 or 38
37.
years old.
He's 37. You made fun of him last week, so I looked up his age. Yeah, he's
37 years old. He goes Kurt Schilling in this game. He
Yes,
gets hit with it wasn't a line drive. It was like a one hopper, but a hot shot goes through the box, hits him in the leg. Actually, he deflects it by being hit in the leg over to first base where it became an out. And he continues to pitch on what turned out to be a broken fibula, Lubie, for another couple of innings. He was out there and ended up going like 2 1/3 before he finally said, "Ah!" He couldn't take it anymore.
God.
But the Braves jumped all over the Houston Astros in the game. They were up 5-0 after 3 innings. They had many, even more scoring opportunities during that period of time. Could have easily put like double digits on the board in the first 3 innings. Hold on to win behind their bullpen 6-2. So they take a 1-game advantage, 1-0 in a pivotal game 1, because all games are pivotal in these playoff series. Who's the pressure on today, Lubie?
The pressure.
That's always a great question that sportscasters ask. Well, who's the pressure on in this ballgame? I would think it falls flat on the head of the Houston Astros.
They're down.
Right. Yeah. Being down 0-2 is no fun when you go on the road for 3 against the Braves, who've been red hot at home also. So this was the bloody sock, was it not? I mean, a guy goes out there on a broken leg and pitches. It's the Monty Stratton story all over again. A thing that used to be on Rain Out Theater all the time when you were watching baseball games as a kid in New York. All of you old geezers at Caesars will remember that. And they would have any number of Jimmy Stewart movies. I think I saw Carbine Williams 100 times where he like invented a rifle. And then the Monty Stratton story, one of my favorites. I mean, I was moved to tears many times during that movie where Monty Stratton, who was that a real story? I want to say it was. He shoots his leg off in a hunting accident and then comes back to pitch in the bigs in an all-star game with a wooden leg. This was before the advancements were made with prosthetics and things like that. So he comes back with a wooden leg, and a painful moment in that movie is when he's pitching very well in his comeback after a long, arduous work and a hard road to get back and even have a chance to get out there on the mound. And the manager of the opposing team that is getting mowed down by Monty Stratton says, "I hate to do this, but bunt on him." It's kind of like when I hit the drop shot against Dr. Jerry, whose knees are in worse shape than Joe Namath. In my own personal athletic quest.
Just be a jerk.
Now, did Schilling spill blood on that sock deliberately to add to the drama of that particular World Series? Kurt Schilling.
That was all.
Past him?
No, I would not. No, I definitely would not.
You wouldn't put it past him. And now remember that weird meeting we had with Kurt Schilling? We were in Indianapolis on Radio Row for the Super Bowl, and Schilling was about to, he was announcing the development of, what was that? Some kind of cartoon company or something.
It was a video game that ended up like booking the government out of millions of dollars.
And he was wearing a pirate outfit, and he was, swashbuckling his way through Radio Row with a sword.
Yep.
And we didn't know what kind of whack job this guy really was at the time, because later, he distinguished himself as almost rocker-esque with some of his opinions on politics and what's going on in the world. And then he denounced the idea, I don't want to be in your Hall of Fame. You can keep his stinking Cooperstown to yourself. I'll never set foot there. Right? He pulled a John Daly.
Yes.
He said, you know what? If I can't play at Augusta, I'll sell autographs at the Hooters right down the street there. Take that, Martha Burke. So, the bloody sock thing, that was Morton yesterday in the game. This is a good one. Are you a trend handicapper? Are you a believer in trends after having Mark Lawrence on the show?
I'm more of a believer now than ever. Yes. Lawrence is sort of.
How about this one? Last night in the NBA, Philadelphia had won its last 15 games at Madison Square Garden.
Wow.
So they were 15-0 in this spot.
Okay.
And they go into the Garden last night and get blown out, 112-99 by the Knicks. So we're supposed to fall off this year, but so far, so good. They're looking pretty good. The New York Knicks. And that eases the pain of some of the other things that are happening on the New York sports landscape right now, where the Yankees, that was great yesterday, that rambling dissertation on the Yankees by Harvey Fialkoff, one of our good friends, regular on the show. God, right?
He totally lost it.
He literally had them exhuming and bringing back to life the bodies of Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, DiMaggio. I mean, Yankee fans just feel like they can pluck any player off any team. And today the big headline is that they want Correa from the Houston Astros.
Oh, nice. Good for them.
Yeah, we'll just get him too. Why not? Why not throw in Whitey Ford while you're at it? He'll make a comeback. Sugar, that's the only way to describe most of the Yankee fans. The commissioner of football has spoken. Thus spoke Zarathustra. Roger Goodell has said, I'm holding Dan Snyder accountable for some of the things that happened here.
There you
This
go.
was said and announced while he was refusing to release any information about the investigation or any of the other emails that didn't condemn John Gruden. Way to go, Raj. Love the transparency there. Who's playing the halftime show this year? That's all we want to know about. All right. Good to be with you here. And thanks to the people tuning in, WWNN, a little replay of the first hour of the program. And we are live on Ion Channel. That's where we really want to be. And it's absolutely fantastic. Things really taken off. Some very positive reports. So we're happy about that. Tomorrow I'll be out at Hialeah, our first live remote. Lubie, are you capable of handling that?
I do nothing different. My fear is you. I'm here.
That would be my fear also.
You're the one that's
hey, is he going to show up?
Doing the fun.
Where's the old Jew?
Exactly.
He's got to host a show. We should be on the scene there. Hialeah Champion Simulcasting Room. Got the thumbs up there from Frank Fiore. And
nice.
They're all ready to go. They couldn't be any more cooperative. And I should have the Polyman Dave Gurgles Gurgley out there on the show. That's usually our Saturday show. Used to run 8 to 10 here for like 25 years, various radio stations. Everywhere on the dial that I went. And I literally went the old Howard David thing from left to right on the radio dial, which is an interesting thing because how do you know which side of the stadium the announcer's sitting on? I mean, what's left to right to him may be right to left to you. Although it did make you kind of follow along there. Okay, yes. I know which way they're going. When a guy would say that, an utterly useless clarification. But it's sounding they're going from left to right on your radio dial, which I have done. I think I've been on what? I don't even know if I can name all the stations. 560, 610, 640, 740, 850. 790. I left out 790. 790, 850.
Yep.
What's that, Lubie? That's 560, 610, 740, 790, 850, 940, of course. We were there for years.
40.
Then you're going to move further up down the dial there. And 1230 we were on.
1230. West
Palm Beach.
And 1470. Before and now.
1470. Yes, also. And 1400 also. I was on 1400, the light bulb.
Oh, Jesus.
For a brief period of time.
That's
one of my theories about this job, and if I was teaching a course in, what would it be? Electronic journalism, if you will.
Yeah.
Electronic media. I would say that if you're a performer, if you're on the so-called talent side of things, you want to be somewhere.
Yes.
Rather than nowhere. Because the minute you're out of the game, all of a sudden, it's very easy to forget that you ever existed at all. Oh, yeah, Defo, he was good. And that's why we're so happy that Jack Namer bought our line of crap and said, I'll put you guys.
You know he can hear us.
Well, he's probably regretting it. I'm speaking to him. He knows I like to kid around. I'm kidding, Jack.
I love how you just tell people. We pull the wool over their eyes.
He doesn't know what he's gotten himself into.
I think he does. That's what's scary.
Supposedly the deal is done, Lubie, the Phins and Deshaun Watson, but it's now contingent on the Phins getting legal clearance from Deshaun Watson. He has to be abdicated of all of his legal problems need to be resolved for them to consummate this deal. What are the chances of that? That
won't happen until February. That's the whole point of the whole thing. Don't even get me started.
So they supposedly have all of the elements in place. They've agreed to the compensation for the Deshaun Watson, what they're going to actually have on the table in this trade. I don't know what it is. That wasn't specified. Where's Schefter when you need him? Hey, Adam, you got any real information? But they're saying that trade is consummated, contingent, and Stephen Ross has signed off on it. So sayonara Tua.
Ross is the one that wants it.
Stupid. They want to have a top-notch quarterback, but
at what expense? I can't wait.
Goodell is hands off on this thing. I don't know nothing about nothing. He's like the mass wrestler begging for mercy in the corner there. No, please don't hammer me. And so he's saying nothing. He's saying that Watson is eligible to play as far as he is concerned, and that these civil suits really can't prevent Watson from playing because the NFL only will deal with like criminal charges, and there aren't any as of yet, and that their investigation is incomplete. Oh boy, there's a surprise.
What?
Who was it they sent in there to investigate? I mean, this was like one of those Donald Trump investigations. Oh yeah, I assigned this guy Barr to figure out what went on there, any insurrection. Forget about it. That's not the way that anybody's going to get to the truth. And so anyway, that deal's supposedly done. People are speculating where Tua might land. If it isn't Houston, they could trade Tua to some other team. And there are many teams that might be seeking a quarterback, you would imagine, Lubie, who didn't look half bad in the last couple of games.
We need a break, so I won't get into this, but hopefully you give me time since we don't have anything till 8 o'clock to get in, because this is making me.
You're going to take a stand on this?
It's not a stand. I hate the Dolphins. I'm actually getting to the point where I hate them. I really hate them.
Wow.
I don't understand what they're doing.
But that's your MO. You hate all of your own teams. No
I'm negative. I don't. I hate them. I have a visceral reaction right now when you say the term Dolphins. What are they doing?
That is insane, isn't it? I don't know. I mean, if they could have gotten some kind of trade that involved Tua for Deshaun Watson, take a shot on the fact that he might be able to play, and didn't have to give up much else, I'd say go ahead and do it. Why not? Take a chance there. We know Deshaun Watson is a top-notch quarterback in the National Football League when playing. 22 civil suits would have to be resolved by tomorrow.
It's not being seen until February. We already know that. So your contingent is, okay, we're going to not do this until after the season. So we're going to keep putting Tua under this weird-ass microscope that the kid doesn't deserve.
Such ugliness. Cardinals and the Packers tomorrow starts out the NFL week. That's going to be a good ball game. We have to run now. We've abused the format here, even though we don't have any.
We have a format.
We have abused it.
And you still ruin it.
Let me tell you about Deal Volkswagen. That will make your day. You make a deal at Deal Volkswagen, you are going to be so happy. I've made a couple of them. Jersey Kyle has sent dozens of people in there, and I've advised many, many people, including our good friend Chris Kurtz, big fan of the show. Get down at Deal Volkswagen and make yourself a deal on any of the fine line of Volkswagen vehicles. Anna makes buying a car there so simple. She's such a sweetheart. Great at what she does. I mean, really been running that place in a top-notch fashion. They were always right there at the head of the pack, but Anna took over, I want to say 5-6 years ago as a general manager, and she and her team are razor sharp. You don't have to worry about false starts or penalties that involve any form of execution, because you're going to go down there and execute a deal that is just absolutely favorable to the customer each and every time. The financing department is dynamite. They'll get you financed. You don't have to have some Mensch-like credit score. You don't need to be in the 800s. Get a car there. I mean, even I'm not sure if Kyle even had a 400 credit score. It was like the SATs where they give you 400. I think they give you 400 on the credit score, and rolled right out of there with a car at a sweet price and with a very reasonable interest rate, considering some of his indiscretions in the past. They make buying a car there so easy. Log on online, dealvolkswagen.com. You can check out the full complement of inventory. The certified pre-owns are red hot. That's a great category right now. A lot of people in the automotive industry are gouging their customers on certified pre-owned vehicles, used cars, if you will. And the certified pre-owns, though, are just premium at Deal Volkswagen, and they're giving them away. These are lease turnbacks with low mileage, practically new cars at half the price. You owe it to yourself to, if you're thinking about buying a new car of any type, take a look at the Volkswagen line and make sure you log on to dealvolkswagen.com. Wherever you are in the state, wherever you are in the country, it'll be worth your time. You're going to get the best deal on a Volkswagen vehicle at one place, and that is Deal Volkswagen. And if we have any time left in the hour, we'll be back with more in a moment. Now that. It's time Lubie stepped it up and did a hardcore editorial. The championship meet is right around the corner at Gulfstream Park. The only place for live racing, Gulfstream's action has never been hotter. Whether it's on the track, in the casino, or part of the dining and entertainment offered at the Village of Gulfstream Park. Currently running Thursday through Sunday, Gulfstream's racing package is the best in the country, with all the top horses and people in the game pointing towards another tremendous winter season. Check out the remodeled first floor casino, open 7 days and nights a week, along with the many special events and concerts happening at Gulfstream Park. You can place your wagers from anywhere at firstbet.com. Check the calendar of events at gulfstreampark.com.
Hey there, it's Mike Mayo. Do you like steaks? Do you like seafood? Do you like classic old Florida charm? You could get that all and more at Tropical Acres Steakhouse and Butcher Shop. It's at 2500 Griffin Road in Dania, just west of 95. The Studiali family, they've been running the place a long time. It's been there more than 70 years. And it is now a place you can get early bird specials along with steaks to take home and throw on the grill yourself at the Butcher Shop. That's open 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day. It's open for dinner every night starting at 4:30, but they are closed on Sundays. Go to Tropical Acres. It's a place to go for a great meal, great people, good value. Tropical Acres.
Destination Sport Miami is here to revolutionize the sports landscape in South Florida. The largest indoor multifaceted sports complex in North America is on the way, with distinguished leaders of its various sports programs and unparalleled access to the finest indoor training fields and facilities. Destination Sport Miami will set South Florida apart as the destination of choice for elite athletic training and development, and for its dedication to youth programs and sports on all levels. A phenomenal concept and a powerful undertaking, Destination Sport Miami will also be an important commodity in the sports business community as well. Destination Sport Miami, its time has come.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. Their hours have changed a little bit. Monday through Thursday from 3:30 to 10, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 11:30 to 10. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Since day one of Old School, we've had Catholic Health Services be part of our family. They are recognized as the quintessential rehab facility in the Southeast for strokes, but it goes well beyond strokes, because Catholic Health Services is in the community of South Florida to help the community stay healthy. And if they're not healthy, get them healthy and get them back on their feet quicker than they could have ever expected. They do it every single day. It's step and repeat, 24/7. Catholic Health Services.
Buy or lease a Taos and take it to the house at Deal Volkswagen. Anna and her team make your next VW purchase or lease so easy, with new inventory rolling in daily and the biggest selection of certified pre-owned vehicles in the business. You can make your deal online at dealvolkswagen.com or visit the beautiful showroom in the classic location, 3601 Bird Road, right in the heart of the Gables. Or give Anna and the team at Deal a call at 305-448-DEEL. Jettas, Passats, Tiguans, Atlas models, and the hottest vehicle in the industry, the new Taos, all at unbeatable prices and all ready to roll off the showroom floor at the #1 Volkswagen dealership around, Deal Volkswagen. ESPN's Tom Rinaldi. Give us some thoughts if you can. We're going to attempt one here.
Just, is there any topic, or just speak in general? Just give you a sports sort of essay.
I'm going to try one. I just did my usual thing here, Tom, and just put meaningless words together here to see if they could make some sense. The pursuit of excellence is of humble horizons, of fallen champions, riding the wings to fame. You were ready to ad-lib one for us. Would you honor us with that? Obviously, you're our type of guy from the very beginning of this conversation. Can you give us a little Rinaldi?
If only the line of a life were as easy to trace as the limb where it ended.
There is nothing better than Defo, here on 940 Wins Miami Sports.
Nobody better at that kind of poetry than Tom Rinaldi. He was a go-to guy for ESPN. They don't have anybody that can do that anymore. Welcome back to the show here on Ion Channel on this fine Wednesday morning. Glad to be with you. Also happy you guys have been catching the replay of the first hour of the program on WWNN here in town, all over Fort Lauderdale, blasting a significant amount of wattage as we get a chance to catch up with some of our audience that can't figure out how to get on Ion Channel, which very simple, Lubie. No, you're finding a lot of people are really catching on to this thing and
Yes.
seem to be accepting it, which is great. All right, you wanted to tee one up. I'm going to give you a shot here, Lubie. This is editorial commentary from Mike Lubitz. Used to do Lubie's Law, but that's now part of another broadcast that we have on the Believe Podcast Network. How many jobs you got? A lot.
Hopefully more.
It's got to keep rolling, my friend. I mean, take whatever you can get in this round.
Exactly.
That's for sure. But this is good, and it's going to be big. I'm really happy about it, very excited about it. I wake up every day thinking, am I dreaming? Am I dreaming, or is this really happening? I was dreaming that I blew an exacta yesterday. I've been waking up to losing gambling dreams. Jersey Kyle was screaming at me, did you get it in? Did you get it in?
Your dream.
I don't know. My money got caught in a machine. I didn't get the bet down, and sure enough, there it was, a 1-2 exacta. 1-2, buckle your shoe, 1-2 for breakfast, and We cashed nothing on that and made zero money. All right. So you've been a huge Tua Tagovailoa advocate. I was all in. I thought this guy was going to be great in the National Football League. I'm not sure that I believe that right now. I don't know that you can condemn his play as being subpar. It's shown, signs at times that maybe this guy can be a real efficient quarterback in the modern day NFL version of a quarterback. But is he Justin Herbert? I don't think so, Lubie. And I know you take offense at that. But Herbert is the usual prototype that everybody's looking for, and he can fire the rock. We've seen other quarterbacks rise very quickly in the league. And many, like Tua, I mean, if you look at the current crop, there were 5 guys drafted in the top 15 this year. And you would have to say the guy that you thought was the worst of them, that you were screaming in Mel Kiper-type fashion. In fact, you ought to just take out some hair mousse and gargle with it right now and turn yourself into Mel Kiper, because you were screaming, reach, 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 as they took Mac Jones. And, Mac Jones, I don't know. You're playing for what, Alabama? And you're thinking most quarterbacks are going to look good in that spot. I didn't think Jalen Hurts would be a good pro. And I guess the jury is still out on that. I'm not sure that you're winning Super Bowls with Jalen Hurts, even though he found himself acing out Carson Wentz and becoming the starter in Philadelphia, which, they're not exactly lighting it up right now. But if you look at the 5 guys that were drafted, Mac Jones, I think, is a guy that looks like he is Belichick's dream fill-in and follower for Tom Brady. I think they found their guy there. Zach Wilson's out of the lineup now for the New York Jets. He was the number 2 pick. We're seeing Trevor Lawrence struggle, although, I don't know that you can pin that on him, because Urban Meyer, is there a bagel shop or something in Jacksonville? Urban Meyer put on like 100 pounds.
Yep.
He looks terrible. When he was making those twerking moves, it was, disgusting. I mean, just seeing rolls of fat jiggling all over the stomach of Urban Meyer. But, so he's got a quarterback in Trevor Lawrence that is looking very shaky. But I don't know. I mean, maybe the guy's going to be great. Joe Burrow didn't look brilliant in his first few games with the Cincinnati Bengals, but that's a tough organization to play for also. Unless you're like Marvin Lewis coaching, where you could go 100 years in a row without making the postseason and still keep your job. That was an interesting story. And you look at Lance with the 49ers, and, he isn't exactly lighting it up and doesn't even sniff the field now, as they've gone with Garoppolo. And, of course, Justin Fields in Chicago looks almost inept out there, looks completely lost.
And I like
not easy. I mean, it's not the easiest transition, even for the most formidable of college quarterbacks to come right into the pros and light it up. So you have to give Tua a little bit of that. People were making the hip injury excuse for him last year as to why he didn't have a more efficient season and didn't look like a guy that was going to lead you to a Super Bowl. They kept having to replace him with Fitzpatrick, and people saw Fitzpatrick spark up a club that was dead flatter than a Parisian runway model. While Tua was quarterbacking a team on many occasions, we blamed Chan Gailey, who was further the right than Attila the Hun when it came to conservative play calling.
Exactly.
And maybe there's some truth to that, although they gained a lot of yards and scored a lot of points, which was surprising. And most of that was done without Tua in the lineup. Now, he's looked good in spots, and then every now and then he throws in one of those bozoic plays that you see that ruin, like he did in this last game that he performed in, where that second interception right after the Dolphins had gotten a turnover and were right back in the ballgame was an atrocity. These are mistakes that you cannot make. So you've been a defender of Tua. I liked him. I thought the Dolphins should have drafted him. I didn't know much about Herbert at the time. That looked like it was going to be one of those Ryan Leaf, Peyton Manning debates where you talk yourself into liking a guy that you really hadn't seen much of, and it turns out one guy's a bust and the other guy's brilliant, goes to the Hall of Fame, and makes it in whatever field. Is there anything that Manning isn't selling? I guess he's finished when he replaces Tom Selleck on that reverse mortgage ad. Starts doing some of the stuff that Theismann was doing in terms of commercial endorsements. All right, so what do you think? Mike Lubitz, your hard-hitting editorial. The Dolphins apparently in agreement on compensation and what the transaction is going to be comprised of with the Houston Texans for the beleaguered quarterback, Deshaun Watson, who demanded a trade, and then right after demanding a trade, unfortunately, ran into just an absolute avalanche of accusations that he was guilty of various forms of sexual assault. And, it's like 21 cases or 22 cases. I think 22.
It's 22.
So when 22 people line up against you, that's usually not favorable. Your tendency is to believe that somebody there might be telling the truth. They can't all be making this up. A lot of times we've seen these kind of incidents where many women have lined up against a certain individual, just disappear. I don't know if that was based on monetary settlement that nobody knew about. But what do you think? I mean, this Dolphins organization does appear to be scrambling and does appear to have really no sense of direction after 3 years under the leadership of Brian Flores and Chris Greer.
What's interesting is, so in the language, anything I've now read, because I didn't hear anything about this all day, so it's funny that this was a big topic. Stephen Ross himself wants to know what the legalities are, what the issues are, and wants to know from the NFL the max suspension. Roger Goodell comes out and says, look, here's the deal. We don't have enough information to put him on the exempt list now. Okay, so in February, when this stuff gets settled, when things happen, when it's brought to the forefront, there's probably going to be a suspension of some kind. So now he's not playing this year and he's not playing in the next year. You can't guard. So you going to contingently make a trade? I don't think that even works. I don't think you're even allowed to do that. So I don't understand. So what they're going to do is not make the trade now, keep it on the table, and then at the end of the year, make the trade. So now you're having Tua play knowing that he's gone. And the kid's only in his second year. And if you look at Tua, first of all, he still hasn't started an entire first season's worth of games. His numbers are ridiculous. He has 22 touchdowns to 10 turnovers on 66% completions. And he has.
But he doesn't push the ball down the field. I mean, that would be one criticism I think is valid.
Fantastic.
No, but that's important. I mean, you can't. It's happened. I think you can look at this and say, how is it that the Dolphins march right down the field on their opening drive with Tua, and the guy looks great, 6 for 6, 62 yards, maybe even runs it in himself for the touchdown. And then by the second drive, they can't gain a yard for like 3 quarters because teams realize that he's never going to force the ball down the field.
Who is he pushing? When you have less than 2 seconds to throw the ball, how can you go down the field? Like it takes.
He had time in his last game. I don't know why they don't pressure teams down the field. I mean, they have receivers that have speed, supposedly. And they brought in Jalen Waddle to do that.
Who's supposed to do that?
But he's catching mostly dink passes, little hook patterns and crossing patterns and things like that, doing very well with it.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what Tua, I mean, if you're resigned to the idea that that's all Tua Tagovailoa can do, then I could see every reason to want to go ahead and move on to a guy that might be able to accomplish more. Because if you can't pressure teams down the field, eventually, I don't even think they had 11 guys. They had like the team preacher in the box there. This last game, coaches are running out on the field. They're making tackles because they know that the Dolphins aren't going down the field, which is unfortunate. But I don't know. I mean, that's too dicey of a commodity, isn't it? Deshaun Watson to mess with if you're the Miami Dolphins, and why are they staking their future on that 2.5 years into this rebuild when they had all of this draft capital? That would be my criticism. That obviously you blew it, kid. You blew it. It's the old Angelo Dundee thing, the Sugar Ray Leonard. You're blowing it, kid. You're blowing it.
Like, how can you have these guys run the organization into the ground again with all that draft capital and then keep them in place to continue to do it?
That's what they've done. They have faith in losers.
Exactly.
Kept Mike Tannenbaum around for a while. Hey, Mike, yeah, you want to still be the GM here? Yeah, I know you've ruined the organization, right? And Dominican Sue, that Mike Wallace guy that they signed, that was ugly, right? What'd they give him? $60 million? He caught one pass for the Miami Dolphins. Fast as hell, though. I mean, he could run down the field. All right, we're going to be at Hialeah Park tomorrow. This is going to be great. Going to attempt to do the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge on audio and video for the first time, taking our stuff out there on remote. I trust the situation. I really do. I think it's going to be great. People love the Trivia Challenge show, and we love going to Hialeah Park. It's a great spot. Going to incorporate, I think, some video into the broadcast, the video streaming of Hialeah Park, and you're going to love what you see, people. I mean, it's just absolutely a fantastic place. The way they designed the casino, a dazzling casino, you get a player's card when you come in the door there, and it gives you all kinds of entitlements. It's just absolutely great. It's not one of those player's cards where maybe you get a coupon, you get a chance to spin to win a free pie. Forget about that. You're getting cash. You're getting free play. That really can get you going there, and if you're a VIP card holder from any other gaming destination, you get like $200 in free play when you sign up at Hialeah Park. Tremendous stuff. And they're doing things like that all the time. Steve Calabro does a great job with the casino. And, of course, my man Frank Fiore, always making things happen. They have a lot of special events coming up. Hey, Frank, how you doing? He's been tuning in every day of the show.
Good morning, Frank.
And he's still having us out there tomorrow for the run a champion simulcasting parlor, which the champion simulcasting room is as exquisite and elite a simulcasting facility as you will find anywhere in the world. I absolutely love it. I love what they did there. You're going to love it too with the Brass Rail Bar, the Crossover Cafe. So many reasons to enjoy a day and evening, a nighttime at Hialeah Park. Open till 3 a.m. on the weekdays, 5 a.m. on the weekends. They open up the casino doors at 9 o'clock. You can already feel the buzz there, generating all the way from Hialeah up here where I'm broadcasting from at Pompano Beach. Great place to go. Can't wait to get down there tomorrow. I return to Hialeah Park. Make your plans, clear your social calendar, and make yourself a day or an evening at beautiful Hialeah Park. We will return in a moment. Hard-hitting editorial, Lubie. I don't know if I even let you get to your point. Which is
you didn't, but it's okay. It's nothing. These are the same old Dolphins. And Watson, Tua, whoever it is, until you fix the offensive line, it doesn't matter who you have at quarterback.
All right. That's fair. I mean, that's concise. That's good. It took me 35 minutes to talk about Rachel Nichols at the beginning of the show. In 3 seconds, you've nailed.
I've had
hot take on a
39 years to put this take together. My dad's drilled it in my head. Offensive line. I guess they missed the point.
It's the big uglies up front that seem to make all the difference. All right, we're returning in a moment with more on the Defo Show Ion Channel. Happy to be here all across the world on Ion Channel. And, of course, first hour of the program, we're going to say goodbye here in just a couple of minutes to our people on WWNN. Listen to the replay. You can catch the live show 7 to 9, which is really unique. And just log on to ionchannel.com. Bingo, you'll see us, too. Somebody said it was nice that I did laundry and had a new shirt. Comfort is the name of this game. All right, we'll return in a moment with more and all kinds of good things happening. Talk a little Dolphins with David Furones of the Sun Sentinel in the 8 o'clock hour of the morning show. And Tony Segreto is going to be sort of after hours here. I want to give a heads up to the engineering people there at Ion Channel. Yeah, we're going a little long today. So Tony doing some traveling. He's all over the place, Tony Segreto. So he's going to join us for about 20 minutes at 9 o'clock today. And we'll return in a moment. Now that.
The time.
See you guys on NN. It is 7:58 Eastern. Destination Sport Miami is here to revolutionize the sports landscape in South Florida. The largest indoor multifaceted sports complex in North America is on the way. With distinguished leaders of its various sports programs and unparalleled access to the finest indoor training fields and facilities, Destination Sport Miami will set South Florida apart as the destination of choice for elite athletic training and development, and for its dedication to youth programs and sports on all levels. A phenomenal concept and a powerful undertaking, Destination Sport Miami will also be an important commodity in the sports business community as well. Destination Sport Miami, its time has come.
Hey, folks, Tony Segreto here. What if I told you you could go to a great restaurant, feel completely safe because their COVID protocol is unmatched, have an amazing meal, have a great time. When the bill comes, you won't get sticker shock. You're going to say, that's too good to be true. No, it's not, because I'm talking about Texas Roadhouse. Great family atmosphere, great atmosphere for a couple, great atmosphere if you just want to go by yourself and watch a game and have the coldest beer in town. And while you're doing that, have the best bread in town. All at Texas Roadhouse. Everything you get there is fresh every day and made sure it's served at your table, hot and ready to go. And the best part is you don't get sticker shock because the prices are amazing. Texas Roadhouse.
Recently, we realized it's not just hurricane season that can hurt us. Any time of year, things can happen to your home or business. And the insurance company can be your friend, but they also can be your enemy. Horizon Public Adjusters, Justina Testa, are here for you to help this process go so much easier. Before you call the insurance company, call Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa at 954-809-8752. Would you go into court without an attorney? So why would you go up against an insurance company without Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa? 7 to 10 times more money recovered with a public adjuster than if you went on your own. If there's no recovery, there's no fee. Give them a call at 954-809-8752. 8752. Why go up against insurance companies alone when you can have Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa on your side?
Play the ponies in style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in stuff. Play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. Their hours have changed a little bit. Monday through Thursday from 3:30 to 10, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 11:30 to 10. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar, and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Hey, it's Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet here for my friends over at Shenanigans Sports Pub. It's a great place to go to take in a game, a good meal, and a couple of drinks. My friend Patrick, he's been doing it a long time, and he's got 2 locations. West Side is right across from TY Park in Hollywood. And then the East Side location is at 1300 South Federal Highway in Dania Beach. Shenanigans is the place for wings, burgers, barbecue, fresh fish, anything you want, drink specials, late night dining, outdoor dining. It is the place to go, family friendly. Go to Shenanigans and tell them the Gambling Gourmet sent you.
Hi, guys. If I could squeeze in 2. One is just, can you say with certainty that Jimmy Garoppolo will be on the roster on Sunday?
I can't guarantee that anybody in the world will be alive Sunday, so I can't guarantee who will be on our roster on Sunday. So that goes for all of us.
From South Florida to the entire world, thank you to the iHeartRadio app. Here is Defo joined by Lubie on the Defo Show.
Nothing like getting right to the bottom of it, Kyle Shanahan. Is this guy going to play? I don't even know if he's going to be alive. That's one way to answer the question. A lot of dumb sports questions are asked, but there are an equal number, if not more, number of dumb sports answers that you get, especially in those kind of situations. Answers is what we're looking for. Welcome back to the show. Jeff DeForrest, Michael Lubie, Lubitz with you, on Channel, ionchannel.com. You can see the video stream tomorrow. We're out at Hialeah Park. Very excited about that. The Trivia Challenge debuts in a Thursday slot. Normally, 25 years of Saturday mornings, Lubie. Wow. It was nice having Saturday off, that's for sure, as we transition. Always try to get something else, another caveat, whenever changing jobs. Now, this guy changed jobs, although in the same place, and was doing an outstanding job covering Hurricanes football for the Sun Sentinel, the South Florida Sun Sentinel, and the Dolphins right in the center again, in the crosshairs of everything that's going on in the National Football League, both on and off the field. On the field, it's been a disaster at 1-6, and off the field, supposedly have consummated the deal, or at least agreed on compensation, and what's going to be involved in the transaction for Deshaun Watson, which also signifies the idea that it's, hey, Tua, sayonara, man. That it's over for Tua Tagovailoa, the highly coveted quarterback who we were tanking for just a couple of years ago. We welcome to the show David Furones, now covering the Miami Dolphins beat for the South Florida Sun Sentinel. David, good to have you on a new program. Thanks so much for joining us here on the show.
Hey, thanks you guys for having me, and congratulations on the new show. I guess same show, but different platforms. But
Yes.
Congrats on the success in getting it.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, it's going well, and we're real happy about it. It looks like Tua may be in a new situation. Let's address first. I mean, this idea. I mean, to your knowledge, and this is being reported as fact. Have the Dolphins agreed on compensation with the Houston Texans to make a deal to acquire Deshaun Watson?
The Dolphins haven't let out such information, but really the Houston media has been sort of leading the way in the reporting on this, indicating that a lot of the sources that are revealing information on this are coming from Houston, really. So you have Houston Chronicles report yesterday indicating that exactly what you just told us, that the terms of the would-be deal have been agreed to, the compensation has been agreed to, and then what it comes down to is the Dolphins don't want to pull the trigger until everything is settled legally, and what will happen to Deshaun Watson is known, as he faces these 22 civil suits of sexual misconduct, a couple of which alleged sexual assault. So that's when you look at that, that seems unlikely to happen before this November 2nd trade deadline, which is already this coming Tuesday. A lot of people speculated that just yesterday, this past Tuesday, was a day where something could happen. It came and went without any deal going down to the Dolphins or any of the other teams that have been spoken of, whether it be the Panthers, Eagles, or Broncos. So right now, we're getting this deep into a week. It's a Wednesday. Teams are practicing now for this coming Sunday's game. So right now, it seems like we will get through this week again, generally speaking, based on precedent of when moves happen. With Tua Tagovailoa as quarterback, he'll go into Buffalo, go through the week of practice, most likely, preparing for the Bills, and then we will revisit it all right after, early next week, Monday, Tuesday, before that Tuesday trade deadline, which is November 2nd.
We're talking all things Dolphins with one and only David Furones, covers the Phins for the Sun Sentinel. Follow him up on Twitter at David Furones, FURONES_. Okay, I haven't covered the NFL like you have. We followed it my entire life. I didn't know you can make a trade contingent on something that's not going to happen until February. How the hell does that work? And if it doesn't happen that way, then it's just like this trade's on the table till February. How can Tua go out there and still be quarterback knowing he's gone?
Yeah. Well, I think one of the things that the Dolphins want is some kind of assurance that something were to develop where Deshaun Watson is unable to play, gets put on the commissioner's exempt list because of what's going on, what's been reported, what's been alleged, and what he's accused of, then certain aspects of this trade, certain components of the compensation could revert back. But there seems to be no assurance. I mean, the Texans want what they want. It seems like the Dolphins aren't offering all of it, like the 3 first-round picks and the 2 or 3 additional pieces or picks that the Texans want. So it doesn't seem like the Dolphins are going all that route. But from other reports like Jay Glazer on Fox, they indicate that other teams have called and that what the Texans are telling them is you have to match the Dolphins' offer. So it seems like the Dolphins are willing to give up the most for Deshaun Watson in these trade talks. But yeah, I mean, it's a difficult component where you don't know what's going to go on yet before this trade deadline. So in all likelihood, although a lot of reports have indicated that the Texans are moving him before this trade deadline in a week, that this could come down to later on, whether it's the offseason. But Deshaun Watson, though, he is available to play. A team can play him. He's not on the commissioner's exempt list once he does get traded. It's just a matter of the Texans have decided not to play him on their own roster.
The Tuna, who is also part of the demise of this Miami Dolphin franchise. Thank you very much for Tony Sperano. May he rest in peace. The king of he would go for the field goal from the 1-yard line on first down because he didn't want to risk the chance that they might fumble the ball and not be able to put 3 points on the board after driving like 98 yards in a slanting rain, against some of the great defenses. He just right away settled for the field goal. And it's just been a series of disasters, including taking Jake Long over Matty Ice, Matt Ryan, who beat the Dolphins this past week. But what does it say about the current organization? The Tuna's famous mantra was, "You are what your record says you are." So the Dolphins now at 1-6 here in the midst, not quite halfway through with the 17-game schedule, in the midst of year number 3, which is supposed to be the year where the foundation is built and you start to really put things together. What does it say about what these guys are doing that in the midst of year number 3, they're 1-6 and scrambling to figure out if they can get a quarterback who may not be able to play for like the next 2 years?
Yeah.
Exactly. And you mentioned Matt Ryan, then he ends up beating the Dolphins just yesterday. And as my colleague Dave Hyde has noted, he's there throwing to Kyle Pitts, who the Dolphins passed on by moving back in the draft out of a position where they could have drafted him. So just kind of a collision of two different regimes colliding there and combining for this Falcons win over the Dolphins. Pretty remarkable. These guys drafted 13 years apart, coming together to defeat the Dolphins. But it does say a lot. And in fact, the last two games, Tua Tagovailoa, who he did miss 3 games with the fractured ribs. So even if early on you could say, well, Jacoby Brissett, the way he's not throwing the ball downfield and he's not being an aggressive quarterback making all these throws. Tua was there. Maybe he could have won some of these games. And it's true. The game against the Raiders, the game against the Colts, you look at the way those played out and the way the offense didn't really get going early on in the early portions of the game until the Dolphins were coming back late. Sure, maybe Tua could have helped Miami to a different outcome. But then Tua has returned for these last 2 games. And then even though he has had some mostly good performances against the Jaguars and Falcons, 4 touchdowns last Sunday in London, his first game back, had another very efficient performance, 2 touchdowns. It only led to 20 points in the end, which was the fewest that the Jaguars had given up all season. But it's still, they had a lead in the fourth quarter, and it came down to a field goal both of these games as time expired. So really, it's been despite Tua's strong performances, even though he did get intercepted. He always throws up either 1 or 2 head-scratching interceptions. It seems like every outing. He's just got to get over that. But a lot of the things that the Dolphins were doing well last year that led to that 10-6 record, they aren't doing well this season. Some of those keys were forcing turnovers. They led the league in takeaways last year, and they're not doing it at the same rate. They still do it somewhat, but they're kind of middle of the pack, slightly above average in that area, where this is a team that probably needs to lead the league in that category to be successful. They're not getting off the field on third downs. They went from first to last. So it improved slightly in a couple weeks, but they led the league in that category as well, and then went all the way to the bottom of the league. So that turns things around completely. Inability to stop the run, the lack of pass protection, the offensive line. As young as it is,
it's not a pretty list there, Dave.
And these are all valid. These aren't stretches.
Right.
Poor training facilities, I guess, is the one thing we could leave out.
The weather sucks.
Well, they upgraded the training facility at least.
There you go. Because they're great off the field.
It's a new state of the art. It's a new state of the art facility adjacent to the stadium. All this, I mean, to say, are they really a quarterback away from contending? Is the big question, because there are so many holes.
I just wanted to, so and Defo sort of touched on it, and you cover them. You're there at the practices. We've questioned Chris Greer ever since he got the gig because he was a part of the Tannenbaum regime, which was a joke. So it seemed weird to keep a guy that was a part of a regime that was a joke, which sort of seems like the Dolphins' MO. Now Florida's under fire too because they are 1-6, and the offense has been an issue the entire time he's been there. And he's changed out offense coordinators. He now has double coordinators, something most of us have never heard of. What are the murmurs around the organization about those 2 guys? Have you heard? Does it feel like this is the end for them? And if so, are there ideas of further GM coaches, or are they safe?
I'm sorry, was that about the
Flores and Greer? Flores and Greer.
Oh, Flores and Greer. Yeah, about Flores and Greer. They're in year 3 now. So, like Jeff mentioned, like Defo mentioned earlier in the program, this is the point in time where you want to see that kind of progression. You thought they took a step in year 2, so that set the expectations a little bit higher for this season. This is a team that had playoff goals, playoff aspirations, and now you're seeing this step back and a lot of questionable draft picks. The 2020 draft was supposed to set the franchise up for the decade to come, and then instead now you have a cornerback that has been inactive for 5 of the 7 games. You had to emergency start him one time because your highest paid cornerback tandem, they were both out for the loss to Jacksonville. So Noah Benogany, he had to play in that one, but he's been inactive for now 5 of 7 games. Austin Jackson was your other first-round pick in that draft, and he's been tough to deal with at left tackle, giving up a bunch of pressures. You have to move him in his second season to guard, see what he can do there where he's in less space. Even then, he gave up the pressure on Tua's second interception where he was going to the ground just trying to flip it up, make a play. And then Tua Tagovailoa himself, who now you're already apparently midway through year two trying to move on from. So, yeah, it's been a lot of questionable decisions. There's some reports, word out that the guys the players don't like the way Flores coaches. Some people have said that, not publicly, but whether it be in anonymous sources to reporters. So that he brought that Patriot way over and kind of isn't a player's coach in the way that a lot of people think he is. So there are a lot of these questions surrounding this team, and if things don't get better, then those are the two that you primarily point the finger to, and could be part of the reason why they want to make such what seems like a little bit of a desperate move, that you're going to go out and, although it's an elite quarterback, get a guy that is facing a lot of trouble right now.
David Furones, outstanding writer for the South Florida Sun-Sentinel. They catch his work there and probably all around the country. Zero in on one of the hot stories in the National Football League, and that is, A, what is wrong with the Miami Dolphins, and B, are they going to pull the trigger on a guy who's probably going to spend the next 2 years in court and not on the field, in Deshaun Watson, and the fact they're throwing in the towel on Tua, a guy that supposedly they were willing to lose every game 2 years ago to be in a position to acquire, and ended up, oddly, after having a remarkable second half of the season when they went 5-4 with a bunch of scrubs, literally like the replacement players were better. You could have, looked at, Keanu Reeves could have been quarterback in this team, and they would have had a better chance of winning a game than they did of winning 5 that year. So that looked like a very encouraging thing. I guess the magic question in sports is always this, as we look at Stephen Ross again appearing to be befuddled and confronted with a situation where he has to sign off on it, and he's more than willing to do it. But is he signing off on his own execution? And David, the question always is, we asked this of Tillman Fertitta, and he snapped on us, the owner of the Houston Rockets, because he misunderstood the premise. But why is it that guys that are so successful, overwhelmingly successful in business, appear to be just purely bozoic when it comes to running a sports franchise? And you wonder, I mean, how did Stephen Ross make all this money in other ventures when he listens possibly to the worst team of advisors ever assembled in the history of any sports franchise?
Yep.
Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic because sports is in some ways very different from or much the same as it has some similarities, but very different though in some of the things that make organizations successful. So I don't know. I think some owners it is viewed as such a challenge to develop a foundation of a franchise and go in, and it's something fun to them as well. And I mean, if you're Stephen Ross, then you're getting into your 80s now. Yeah, you haven't been able to compete with the Dolphins. So I mean, I think that's something that he wants to do. Is at this stage in his life, if he's saying, "Hey, I have to find a way to contend no matter what," then maybe he's thinking, okay, if my group, they want to acquire this guy, and this is what we need to do to compete, then that's what we're doing. But it is an interesting dynamic, the way that it is so difficult for these owners to find success. And, well, you're also dealing in a league of parity, 32 teams. Some of them have to be bad. Some of them have to be losing the team. So, I mean, it's a limited scope of what can happen with this group. Whereas in business, it might be the top 32 business owners that are all finding success over everyone beneath them. So that is a change. And you brought up a point with the way that the Dolphins, one of the most talentless rosters the NFL's ever seen in 2019, they come away with 5 wins that year. Come away with a winning record 10-6 last season on still had to be developed. And those were a couple of things that left you really encouraged with what Brian Flores is doing. That with those rosters, he was able to pull out that many wins. But at the end of the day, this year has really regressed from that standpoint.
We couldn't figure out how he was doing it, and now it seems like it was happening by some some kind of magic. I almost said black magic, but you can only get in the jackpot by making just a common reference. We are checking out a rumor, though, that Stephen Ross has put a springboard at the very top, that rooftop bar that he has going at Hudson Yards. Luganus right into the Hudson River. So. This has to be baffling to anybody that's got big money to, incur this level of failure when you're 3 years into a rebuilding project here and you got nothing off the ground. It's kind of like trying to pull a permit in Coral Gables to get some construction done the way this team is being built. David, always a pleasure. Good luck. Now, are you going to be on the road in Buffalo?
Yes, yep, I'll be up there. That'll be my first trip to Buffalo.
At least it's late October and not.
Has anybody given you any advice about where to go? I mean, you're going to Niagara Falls. You're going to go bowling. What are you going to do? Chicken wings are at a premium everywhere, so I don't even know if the Anchor is a viable destination.
My colleague Omar Kelly tries to avoid that trip every year. So,
exactly.
Yes.
I guess we are very, very smartly. So. I guess he wouldn't be the one to talk to, but we'll have other writers there. Our Dave Hyde will go. Some of the guys from other news outlets. I guess I'll be checking in on what to do there. It'll be Halloween weekend. Maybe there's something going on.
There you go.
A beautiful city, no doubt about it. You know, it's great. I mean, you could go to like a bar mitzvah or a wedding and wear bowling shoes, and it's perfectly acceptable. I mean, everybody's walking around with like 10.5 on the back of their shoes. It figures to be a bludgeoning. The odds makers are not giving the Dolphins much of a chance. I would have made them maybe 10, 11-point underdogs to the Buffalo Bills. It's 13 and a hook. And so they're expecting a trouncing here, which the Buffalo Bills, obviously one of the top teams in the NFL in terms of everybody's estimation and playing well. So it doesn't bode well for a team that's staggering right now to head into Buffalo, especially amidst all of this controversy and the area of who's going to be their quarterback of the future. David, always a pleasure, my friend. Have fun up there in Buffalo. And we'll look forward to your reports on the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins. And, of course, the developing storyline, which has been going on for some time now, that appears to be coming to a head. Is Deshaun Watson going to be the Miami Dolphins' next quarterback? Thanks so much for being with us here on the show. It's always a pleasure, my friend.
Thank you, guys. Always good to join.
All right, be well, man. Thanks.
David Furones. That ought to be a hoot, huh? I mean, any kind of travel, if you're traveling on somebody else's dime, is great, especially if you're covering a sports team. I didn't mind going anywhere, really.
No, he's a younger dude. I mean, I'm sure wherever you go is fun, but I bet you it's a lot better to go to Buffalo in October than it is in December or January.
I don't think that matters. I really don't.
It doesn't matter when.
No, that is the coldest, can I say it? Coldest fucking place you're ever going to go to in your life outside of my trip to Minot, North Dakota, which was a sporting trip that shall never be forgotten. I literally froze my balls off when I got off the plane there. But Buffalo, it'll snow late October. Are you kidding me? This is the dead of winter over there.
Oh, my God. Are you kidding me?
Shocked the living daylights out of me when I first was attending Syracuse University. And we used to schlep over to Buffalo every now and then. They had the Buffalo Braves. Can you believe it? A basketball team. So we were huge basketball fans. We decided to, and this was at a time, I mean, you talk about a kinder, gentler time, where you didn't have to be afraid to go outside, Lubie, where you could hitchhike on the New York Thruway from Syracuse to Buffalo and get there in about the same time as if you had your own car. It's true. I mean, I don't know. They have one of these old, Volkswagen vans.
Yeah.
At Deal Volkswagen in the showroom there, one of the old models.
Nice.
If you were driving a Volkswagen van and it had a peace sign on it and you didn't pick up any hitchhiker, even if the guy was wielding a machete while he was on the road, then it was a disgrace to the whole hippy-dippy movement. They had a good team, though. They had Ernie No D. Gregorio.
Nice.
Who was a great passer and a good offensive player. I don't know if it was a fair knock on him that he played no defense. He was only like 5'10", Ernie D., a very popular player in the Northeast. Bob McAdoo was on that team. We saw Bob McAdoo when he was with the Buffalo Braves. And I believe they had a guy named Randy Smith, who was also a top-notch guard. They weren't a bad team, the Buffalo Braves, an NBA expansion team. And they eventually moved on. But, no, it was a lot of fun going there. I mean, I talk about a just bleep hole of an arena there. The Buffalo War Memorial is where they played their games. But it was freaking freezing. I mean, shocked me. Early October, you might get a blizzard.
That's crazy.
in that region of New York State. It's very unlike the metropolitan New York area there. I mean, it's a total departure, almost like Miami to Tallahassee in terms of political philosophies and beliefs. All right, we're coming back with a lot more here on the Ion Channel. I'm Jeff Deforrest. He's Mike Lubitz, the Defo Show. So happy to be with you. We're going to go a little overtime today, a little after hours with Tony Segreto on Old School with Tony Segreto. That's brought to you by Catholic Health Services and Texas Roadhouse Restaurants. They were rocking it in Lexington at that Texas Roadhouse. I make notice of the places. I was going to say, I make notice of those places where there's a crowd, right? You want to see where are people going.
Yep.
Packed in there, man. You would have thought it was Joe's Stone Crabs on opening night.
It's always a great time. There's one right by me, and whenever I go there, I'll do a lot of the pickups because they make it so friggin' easy. You can do it on an app. You get there, and they just bring it out to you, and it's always packed, no matter Monday or a Sunday. Like, people love that place. They do a great job. They get you in and out.
We love people that are innovative, entrepreneurial types, like Jack Namer and Ion Channel. Very entrepreneurial, and so are the people behind Destination Sport Miami. Man, good team there, huh? Brian Trottier, Glenn Rice, part of that team. Of course, Randy Moss is going to be running the football programs. And Randy, I mean, remember when he was known as this, malcontent, almost like a Kyrie Irving type, and he was involved in things. He had that deal where, he took a cop as a honor ornament at one point in time there, and was just carrying her off the tractor while they were having some kind of parade. And he had the whole thing where he flashed his butt. After scoring a touchdown, he was perceived in a very negative light as a personality, Randy Moss, but it couldn't be any more engaging. I mean, the guy's made a metamorphosis. It's great. And all involved in the youth programs there, Destination Sport Miami, when it comes to football. So top-notch people, and it's going to be the ultimate facility, an indoor facility with 2 full football fields, hockey rinks that are NHL regulation size, basketball courts, tennis courts indoors, all kinds of workout facilities, all the most modern stuff, even e-games. They're dedicated to electronic games. Going to be a great destination, and that's why that's a perfect name for it. Destination Sport Miami, going to be the ultimate training facility and the ultimate place to go if you're looking for any kind of indoor activity here when it comes to the world of sport. You don't have to worry about getting rained out on the tennis courts. Oh, no, it's raining? You're kidding me. Going to be fantastic. Check it out, Destination Sport Miami, on their website. Just punch it up on Google, and you'll see the phenomenal plans that are in place for one of our fine sponsors here on the show, Destination Sport Miami. We're coming back with more. We're going to take you up till about 9:20 today on this morning show. Tony's going to join us about 9 o'clock. Where's he traveling to? He's going to all kinds of college football destinations?
I have no idea. He was sort of quiet about this when he called me like a clandestine meeting, telling me he couldn't do the normal time, but he had to get on. He had a lot to get to his adoring fans. So I was like, okay, we'll figure it out. So we'll have to find out where he is. He travels the freaking country, so
he's all over the place. Yeah, Notre Dame fan, and of course follows Florida State, coming off that shellacking of UMass. Did you take any particular pride in that? The shellacking of UMass, 59-3, Lubie.
It's good they didn't lose.
What was Marcus Camby out of the lineup in that game too? Where was Dr. J? He could have put up a few points. All right, we're coming back with more here on Ion Channel. Great to be with you, and thank you so much, you guys that are finding us. I really appreciate all the positive feedback we're getting. I have a little chat line working here, which I'm assuming is coming from your Twitter account. Is that true, Lubie?
No, it's here.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's why we have to figure out a way for you to be able to chime in. But, yeah, if you bring up Ion Channel, there's a way to communicate with us, and we're here, so say hey. 2
more scary words in a 2-word grouping. Create account when it comes to me.
That always freaks me out.
How many passwords do you have? I mean, every one of them is wrong. You could type in any password that you've ever used, and it always comes back invalid. You're done. All right, we're coming back with more. Just really getting rolling here. It's going by very quickly this morning here on Ion Channel. Appreciate you guys tuning in and tuning in on the video as well. Catch all this on YouTube later on in the day if you missed anything.
Yes, sir.
And all you have to do is punch up the Defo Show. That's great. 5 Reasons Sports Network also carrying our stuff. And original material on the Believe Podcast Network. Been generating a lot of good stuff there as well. Believe Podcast Network, and that you can catch anytime. I'm Jeff Deforrest, and he is Mike Lubitz, returning in a moment. Now that. The time. And this is Eastern Standard, my friends. It's 8:29.
Since day one of Old School, we've had Catholic Health Services be part of our family. They are recognized as the quintessential rehab facility in the Southeast for strokes, but it goes well beyond strokes because Catholic Health Services is in the community of South Florida to help the community stay healthy. And if they're not healthy, get them healthy and get them back on their feet quicker than they could have ever expected. They do it every single day. It's step and repeat 24/7. Catholic Health Services.
Destination Sport Miami is here to revolutionize the sports landscape in South Florida. The largest indoor multifaceted sports complex in North America is on the way, with distinguished leaders of its various sports programs and unparalleled access to the finest indoor training fields and facilities. Destination Sport Miami will set South Florida apart as the destination of choice for elite athletic training and development, and for its dedication to youth programs and sports on all levels. A phenomenal concept and a powerful undertaking, Destination Sport Miami will also be an important commodity in the sports business community as well. Destination Sport Miami, its time has come. The championship meet is right around the corner at Gulfstream Park. The only place for live racing, Gulfstream's action has never been hotter. Whether it's on the track, in the casino, or part of the dining and entertainment offered at the village of Gulfstream Park. Currently running Thursday through Sunday, Gulfstream's racing package is the best in the country, with all the top horses and people in the game pointing towards another tremendous winter season. Check out the remodeled first floor casino, open 7 days and nights a week, along with the many special events and concerts happening at Gulfstream Park. You can place your wagers from anywhere at firstbet.com. Check the calendar of events at gulfstreampark.com.
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
Buy or lease a Taos and take it to the house at Deal Volkswagen. Anna and her team make your next VW purchase or lease so easy with new inventory rolling in daily and a big selection of certified pre-owned vehicles in the business. You can make your deal online at dealvolkswagen.com or visit the beautiful showroom in the classic location, 3601 Bird Road, right in the heart of the Gables. Or give Anna and the team at Deal a call at 305-448-DEEL. Jettas, Passats, Tiguans, Atlas models, and the hottest vehicle in the industry, the new Taos, all at unbeatable prices and all ready to roll off the showroom floor at the #1 Volkswagen dealership around, Deal Volkswagen.
I mean, if you look at our organization today, you've seen what we've done, from every aspect except on the playing field, we're probably the first-class organization in the National Football League.
It's now time for the Defo Show here on 941.
Welcome back to the show on this fine Wednesday. Ion Channel, ionchannel.com is where you find us, and it's just fantastic being here. Jeff Deforrest, Mike Lubitz, very interesting developments all around the league. I like that they went Colonel Klink on that Washington football team investigation. Roger Goodell, always in the interest of transparency. We don't want our fans to be in the dark about anything.
Yeah, okay.
And, he says there'll be no release of any information, anything pertaining to that Washington football team investigation, and that Dan Snyder somehow is being held accountable. Have you figured out how he's being held accountable? They hit him with a fine, which, I don't know, $10 million is nothing to sneeze at, but it's kind of a joke when you figure. And this is where, fans for a long time kind of ignored this aspect, but it's almost impossible not to see what is really going on. Because owners would cry all the time. Well, I can't get any players here because we're losing money, man. Okay. We're swimming in a sea of red ink. It's like being a hemophiliac in shark-infested waters. They're just eating us alive when it comes to money. And if you fans don't start coming out to the game to see this crummy brand of whatever sport it was,
exactly,
we're never going to be good. Remember, that was always the threat. Jeffrey Loria was big with that. Various baseball owners have been crying the blues. But what was never mentioned in the whole equation was the escalation of the value of the franchise, which is so ridiculous. I mean, where are you better off? Owning Bitcoin, Tesla stock, or a professional sports franchise if you can get your hands on one. Think about that. Laurie and Sampson, Jeffrey Laurie and David Sampson, probably running the greatest sports Ponzi scheme ever. And second only to those guys, the brothers that held on to the NBA rights when they had the St. Louis entry in the old ABA, and everybody else sold out and said, yeah, sure, this ain't worth nothing. And television rights weren't worth much, NBA television rights at the time. They used to tape delay the NBA finals. Can you imagine?
Yep.
Didn't even air them live. Like, it would come on at midnight right after morning sermonette. See any number of TV evangelists. Here's Ernest Angley, and then here comes the NBA finals at like 3 a.m. That's where they were at the time. These guys had the foresight. That's why it's always good if you can be a visionary, like our man Jack, or any of the other people that have seen the light before it was about to transpire and become in vogue. Certain situations, these guys anticipated that the NBA television rights were going to be worth a lot of money, and guess what? I think they finally bought them out of that deal after they had made like hundreds of millions of dollars. But what's never talked about, and it hasn't been forever, and it still doesn't get the attention that possibly it should. Whenever an owner is crying the blues about his situation, I need a new stadium, I need this, is the escalation of the value of the franchise. Think about this. I mean, as disgraced as Donald Sterling was when that whole thing went down with the Clippers, the LA Clippers, and he'd been in San Diego. I mean, everybody knew where this guy was coming from forever, Donald Sterling, until he developed a thing for V. Stiviano. Cell phone is the worst rat in the world, is it not? The telephone?
Yep.
Worst rat in the world. So he's on the phone with V saying, we got to get rid of these, I don't know. I can't even think of a word. I don't like to use the N-word, even if we had the liberty to do it. I mean, it's truly offensive. I don't know. I'm not sensitive to this sort of thing. I mean, you could say anything about I'm Jewish, and I don't care what people say. I mean, we know the history, and all you can do is go out there, try and be a good person. I'm not an especially religious person anyway, but what he was saying clearly, what was going to be a cause for him to make his exit from the NBA once and for all. But they knew about this all along.
Decades.
It was Bozzini all along. They knew all along that Donald Sterling, where he was coming from, what his philosophies were. I mean, he stopped just short of going Marge Shot. And, like naming her dog Hitler.
Exactly.
She had a swastika hanging in the background there in her office, and nobody assumed that there was anything wrong with this woman. Come on. Anyway, so Sterling, he ends up selling the franchise for like $2.4 billion. This was a franchise that couldn't draw flies when they were in San Diego. They moved to L.A. They were the redheaded stepchild there. The Lakers were always going to be number one, much like if you look at it, and it's interesting because the Brooklyn Nets have done everything in their power to become like the number one team in New York, and it's a Knicks town, New York City. More tradition. Nets have been kind of vagabonds. They were on Long Island for a while, moved to New Jersey. That was a wild period of time too. They had some pretty good teams also, and this year they were supposed to be dynamite, except for the wayward personality that they signed as part of their big three in Kyrie Irving, who I don't know, does he ever play as a Net again? What's going on with that, Mike Lubitz? I mean, wouldn't you at some point, if you were the Nets, just get a syringe and stick it in his arm and say, "Good, you're vaccinated now. Now get out there and start playing, Kyrie."
Exactly.
They can't make him do it. I mean, are they still paying him any portion of his salary, by the way, speaking of losing propositions? And their owner is fairly liberal. Seems like his head is in the right place. But owners in general have always tried to pull the wool over their fans' eyes, that especially of losing franchises, that, I'm losing so much money and you guys don't appreciate it. But the escalation, that Steve Ballmer, who bought the Clippers, $2.4 billion. That may have been spit to him, but I mean, Donald Sterling couldn't have paid what when he bought the franchise? What do you think the franchise fee was when Sterling came into the league?
Low millions. Like he paid nothing.
I want to say
not even millions.
The franchise fee for the Heat when they came into the league, was it $500,000 or $50,000? No, it couldn't have been 50. 50's nothing. I mean, what was it? $500,000 that the Heat paid to become a franchise? And that's not going back that far. That's 1988. What is that franchise worth to Mickey Arison today? What do you think the Miami Heat franchise are worth? If the Clippers were worth $2.4 billion as a second fiddle team, a second tier team in Los Angeles, what is the Heat franchise worth here in Miami, where they've emerged pretty much as the number one organization in town?
Well, it's saying as of 2020 they were valued just under $2 billion, but that doesn't mean that's what people pay for it. So if they were valued at $2 billion, they probably could get $3 billion. I mean, the Clippers were not valued at $2 billion when Sterling sold them. So if it probably could get closer to $3 billion, because I think you get the arena with it. Like, doesn't he own the arena or have a part of the arena? So I mean,
Shifty Chaffel is he still alive? Lou Shifty Chaffel?
I don't know. I never
somehow he and Billy Cunningham, man, they really pulled the wool over. You talk about befuddling a guy who had made a lot of money in business. Ted Harrison, very generous guy, also Carnival Cruise Lines. Mickey Harrison happens to be a really good guy,
from what we know.
So yeah, you root for his success. No, he's a very humble and low key individual, even though he has billions of dollars. Yeah. I always tell this story because I love people that are humble like that are in that kind of a position. I was doing a video show, a television show at the old Flagler dog track, now the Magic City Casino. And this was, you talk about humble. I mean, this was a very low budget operation. We had bought our lighting for the television show at Kmart, although the show itself came off very well and looked pretty good. So we're doing this interview show there, and we invite Mickey Garrison to come out and be a guest, and he agreed to do it. And at the time, we had a trade-out deal going with a limousine company, so we were offering guests a limo ride to the Flagler Greyhound track, which, I don't know, do you think Mickey Harrison was going to the dog races on a regular basis? Probably couldn't find it. This predated GPS. So we figured, okay, to make it easy for people, I'm not going to make them schlep over there on their own accord. We're going to go ahead and send a limo. That looks kind of classy. So we offered a limo ride to Mickey Harrison, who you would think would be accustomed to riding in limousines. And he says to us, no problem. I'll drive there myself.
That's great.
Came down there. Couldn't have been any more of a personable guy. I don't know if Sterling was in that category, but think about it. If you had, I think it was a $500,000 entry fee into the NBA.
Yeah, it wasn't a lot.
If it was 50, that's really startling. But what was interesting was Lou Shifty Chaffel and Billy Cunningham somehow had zamboozled. There was a guy named Zev Buffman who was a theater guy here in town, and he was part of the ownership group or the group that got the ownership together, which Ted Harrison, I guess, eventually bankrolled. And somehow they made off with $30 million. After just a couple of years, they made off with all the money, and that was taking a big hit for the Miami Heat at the time for guys that really didn't produce a whole hell of a lot. Billy Cunningham, a greatly respected basketball player, and Lou Shifty Chaffel, who had a payphone in Ron Rothstein, the original coach's office. In case he wanted to make any calls, he was going to have to throw. He had like a Ronnie Rothstein. You thought, wow, are you worried about getting in a fight, leaving the arena? He said, no, I have to carry a roll of quarters so I can call about possible trades and guys that are on the waiver wire. Payphone in the guy's office. They didn't even let him make a phone call. They were that cheap. That's how bad it was.
It's the best.
How did they prosper? Pat Riley came in, the god of all sports executives. Pat Riley, the great Pat Riley. All right, we're coming back with more. We're going to be with you a little extra time here today, as we'll go till about 9:20 this morning with Tony Segreto joining us about 9 o'clock. Old School with Tony Segreto, brought to you by Catholic Health Services and also Texas Roadhouse Restaurants. And Tony's always great talking about college football. He has to be happy, right? Doesn't have to talk about another loss until this week.
True.
Are they going to get cremated by Pittsburgh? Pittsburgh's pretty good.
Yep.
What do you think, Lubie?
And talking about Pittsburgh, we'll talk with our man Charlie Partridge Friday at 8 o'clock. He's a guy that recruiting wise to get like 3 stars, but every year has a top 5 defensive line, and it pretty much goes to show you just how good he is at his job. The Partridge man.
Isn't one of their big stars from Pompano Beach also?
I think so. He recruits South Florida really well. He's a South Florida guy.
There's a restaurant connection there, Lubie.
Sure.
Yeah, the Cafe Seville. I've seen Pittsburgh coaches at the Cafe Seville with their connections to Joey Esposito.
Nice.
And you'll see recruits in there. I don't know. Are they allowed to buy them a meal there?
I'm sure.
That shrimp ayeho is probably a violation of some NCAA regulation. By the way, where's Mark Emmett in the NCAA? They have no control over football anymore. I mean, what a farce that. How are they still an organization since they don't do anything?
Exactly.
Which is the bigger farce of an organization, the World Boxing Council or the NCAA? It's always been one of my plaguing questions. All right. Let me tell you about a great place to go if you're going to the Keys, Key Largo. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill.
Yes.
John Conjemi was on with us Monday. He was talking about it. It's kind of a family affair down there at Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. as Dominic, his brother, is the cook and kind of runs the show there in the restaurant. Amanda, Dominic's wife, tremendous job. I mean, she has everybody on their toes there when it comes to service. So this isn't one of those things where like you go to the Bahamas and you're waiting an hour for somebody to come and ask you if you'd like a drink. They're on top of their game there. They got a great pool to relax. It's fantastic. Stop in there. The swimming pool's right on the bay. It's a beautiful view. You can do all kinds of things there. There are a lot of water sports that you can engage in at Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. But the food and drink is exquisite. The accommodations are great. You're going to love it. Mile marker 104 Key Largo, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. Make sure you make your plans to stop there almost as soon as you exit Florida City. Start turning to the right there, and you'll be at Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill, a beautiful destination in Key Largo. We're returning with more, and going to go a little overtime today with Tony Segreto, so stick around for that. I'm Jeff DeForrest. He is Mike Lubitz, returning with more on the Eye On channel. I'm happy to be here, eyeonchannel.com. You can find us right there, and all of the shows are archived, so you can catch anything we've done over the last week and a half. Tomorrow we're out at Hialeah Park, and we'll be back in a moment. Now that.
The time.
Your Eastern Standard Time is 8:45 a.m.
It's the Gambling Gourmet for Cafe Seville in Fort Lauderdale. It's one of my favorite places. It's an old school joint that's serving Spanish and classic continental cuisine in a cozy, friendly setting. It's at 2768 East Oakland Park Boulevard. They're open every day except Sunday for dinner, starting at 5 p.m. You go in there, you see Joey and his better half, Sally. They are giving the greatest in service. And the food, oh my gosh, it's paella, shrimp with garlic sauce, stuffed veal chop. They serve this great, fantastic.
850. Okay.
Go to Cafe Seville in Fort Lauderdale and tell them that the Gambling Gourmet sent you.
Hey, folks, Tony Segreto here. What if I told you?
All right,
you
we'll only take it like 9:15 or so.
Feel completely safe because their COVID protocol is unmatched.
All right.
Have an amazing meal. Have a great time. When the bill comes, you won't get sticker shock. You're going to say, that's too good to be true. No, it's not, because I'm talking about Texas Roadhouse. Great family atmosphere, great atmosphere for a couple, great atmosphere if you just want to go by yourself and watch a game and have the coldest beer in town. And while you're doing that, have the best bread in town. All at Texas Roadhouse. Everything you get there is fresh every day and made sure it's served at your table, hot and ready to go. And the best part is you don't get sticker shock because the prices are amazing. Texas Roadhouse.
Destination Sport Miami is here to revolutionize the sports landscape in South Florida. The largest indoor multifaceted sports complex in North America is on the way, with distinguished leaders of its various sports programs and unparalleled access to the finest indoor training fields and facilities. Destination Sport Miami will set South Florida apart as the destination of choice for elite athletic training and development, and for its dedication to youth programs and sports on all levels. A phenomenal concept and a powerful undertaking, Destination Sport Miami will also be an important commodity in the sports business community as well. Destination Sport Miami, its time has come.
Since day one of old school, we've had Catholic Health Services be part of our family. They are recognized as the quintessential rehab facility in the Southeast for strokes, but it goes well beyond strokes because Catholic Health Services is in the community of South Florida to help the community stay healthy. And if they're not healthy, get them healthy and get them back on their feet quicker than they could have ever expected. They do it every single day. It's step and repeat 24/7. Catholic Health Services.
Buy or lease a Taos and take it to the house at Deal Volkswagen. Anna and her team make your next VW purchase or lease so easy with new inventory rolling in daily and the biggest selection of certified pre-owned vehicles in the business. You can make your deal online at dealvolkswagen.com or visit the beautiful showroom in the classic location, 3601 Bird Road, right in the heart of the Gables. Or give Anna and the team at Deal a call at 305-448-DEEL. Jettas, Passats, Tiguans, Atlas models, and the hottest vehicle in the industry, the new Taos, all at unbeatable prices and all ready to roll off the showroom floor at the #1 Volkswagen dealership around, Deal Volkswagen.
What we gonna do right here is go back, way back into time.
We are now kicking it old school with the one and only Tony Segreto, brought to you by Catholic Health Services and Texas Roadhouse.
Tell me, doctor, where are we going this time?
Well, once again, everybody, great to be with you here on the Eye On channel, the Defo Show. I'm Jeff DeForrest. He is Mike Lubitz. And normally from 8 to 9 on these Wednesdays, we like to go old school with our good friend and iconic South Florida broadcaster and worldwide, world-renowned broadcaster, the great Tony Segreto. You guys around the country and around the world will remember him as part of the Sports Machine, which was one of the great highlight shows. We've talked about that and Tony's experience there. But Tony doing some traveling. I don't know. He's got business. He's always on to something. He's always interviewing or having lunch with dignitaries from both sports and the celebrity life. And he's going to join us right now here on the program as he was unable to make the earlier post time. Tony, how are you? It's Old School with Tony Segreto, brought to you by Catholic Health Services and Texas Roadhouse Restaurants. We welcome to the show the great Tony Segreto. How are you, my friend?
Hold on. Hey, Jerry, I'll be right back. Just order me another coffee.
There you go.
Got it.
Hey, with Jerry Jones there? Nice.
No, Seinfeld.
Oh, Seinfeld.
Seinfeld. Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, doing a piece for 60 minutes. All right. Very good, Tony. How are you, my friend?
Good morning. I'm doing great. Thank you. I'm doing great. I just left Joey, and we were in Washington, D.C. doing an event for Ultimate Chronos, and it was a wonderful event. And Joey's on another flight heading home, and I'm currently waiting for my next flight in Detroit. So I'm glad I could get on with us because I missed going from 8 to 9 this morning. I was landing at approximately 8:05 when it was time for me to be on.
You're back at that Detroit airport?
Detroit, I got to find the thing.
Yeah, home of the American automobile. That's fantastic. Tony Segreto.
Oh, yeah, here we are.
In the Midwest.
Yeah, I was waiting for that. I was absolutely waiting for that. Yeah. Hey, listen, I have to tell
yes.
you, and I need to share this with everybody who's listening. The reaction I received from people who used the link last week when we debuted this new version of our show, right? With what you and Lubie are doing all during the week, what we're doing at Old School, the reaction has been absolutely phenomenal, beyond what I could have ever imagined. And I think I'm excited about this new idea and this new venture that we're doing, and I think it's going to be fantastic.
Going to work out great. I mean, it's working out well already. And you looked resplendent. Sorry, we don't have you on camera on this one because you look great from your digs in Vermont. All right, let's get right into it here, Tony Segreto. You've been following the Dolphins forever. I believe, you were there as like a 9-year-old Segreto working for the NBC affiliate here for Bernie Rosen.
I was
you were interviewing Shula. Yes.
I was there with George Wilson. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, you were there when they finally said, hey, let's go ahead and, give up some compensation. We'll get this guy from the Colts here, Don Shula, in 66 that was when Joe Auer ran back that very first kickoff. So your history with the Dolphins is absolutely as solid as anybody's. What do you make of what they're doing today? I mean, what do you think about it? It looks like, the reports are out of Houston that they've actually agreed to compensation and what's going to be involved in the transaction for Deshaun Watson, who we have no idea if this guy's going to be able to play this year. I guess he's eligible. Goodell said we can't do anything about that, but you're plugging a guy now into a 1-6 team, so I don't understand how much is going to be gained by that. But if this is what they need to do to acquire a quarterback they think is going to be great for the next 10, 15 years, we've been looking for that since Danny Boy was here. So that in and of itself is not a bad idea, but you also don't know where this legalese is going to take Deshaun Watson, and now that seems to be a hesitation point on the part of the Dolphins. But two things we've been talking about. I mean, number one, do you really want to acquire this guy with all of this ugliness surrounding him right now? And two, you're throwing in the towel on Tua, and what are you doing at 1-6 in year 3 of what was supposed to be a stripped down and quick rebuilding process? And we have seen teams go from bad to really good in a short period of time. What do you make of this season, and what do you think about all of this talk about the transaction being about to be completed?
Well, let me answer that in a couple of ways. First of all, about the season, I think what's important for me right now is that I'm hearing from friends of mine who have been lifelong Dolphin fans, and two people in particular. I'm not going to mention their names. It's irrelevant at this time. But they called me up on Monday morning and said, "You know what? I didn't even realize the Dolphins were playing. I don't care anymore."
Oh, geez!
Wow.
Yeah, and that was remarkable to me. It was absolutely remarkable. These are season ticket holders, diehards from 1966. They have stuck with this team, and the fear again is apathy. So you put that in its compartment, and then you bring in the Deshaun Watson factor. Okay, so from one standpoint, it's going to inspire fans like, oh my gosh, we're actually going to do something here. But surprisingly, it happens at a time when teams of all sports, of all levels, college and pro, are trying to get rid of baggage.
Yep.
They don't want trouble. They don't want problems. They don't want to have to manage problems. They don't want to have to answer about problems, right? And let's take a look from the college standpoint, and I'll make it in simple terms. Coaches 15 years ago would take an A-plus athlete that maybe had a shady past where they'd have to manage it. Now that same coach is going to take an A-minus player with a clean slate, a player of character that he doesn't have to worry about. And I think that to me is quite surprising that we're putting ourselves in this position until it's settled. I'm not, innocent until proven guilty. So we cannot say where this is going. But knowing that we're going to get into this pickle is a little concerning. There's a lot concerning. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, people talk about the fans are not going to be happy about things like this, dealing with all of these issues that are facing Deshaun Watson possibly. But I remember, I believe the guy's name was Will Cordero. It had an assault charge against him, and everybody was saying, "Oh well, geez, you can't get this guy. He's a pariah, and it's disgusting." And as soon as he hit a home run, then the fans were giving him a standing ovation for his new team. So that probably doesn't have that much relevance. But by the way, Tony, are you talking with us with a forklift nearby, or are you on one of those little carts that you always look at the guys and saying, "Does that guy really need a ride?" as you're going through the Detroit airport?
If it sounds like I am, I can change this. So if you hold on a moment.
No, it's okay. No, we're only kidding, Tony.
It feels like there's a flute going on and there's like a session.
Yeah. Sounds like you're involved in the insurrection there. I think there was less noise at the Capitol building on January 6th in the background.
Well, gosh, we would hate that. I don't want that. I don't want that.
It's okay. Don't worry about it, Tony. No, we're about to do a little turn here into a break. All right. So do you feel, do you think this is going to happen? What's your opinion here? Because it seems odd. Every time I read another story saying there's, great certainty that Deshaun Watson's going to be a Dolphin, I guess, and this is an act of utter desperation on the part of the current regime, maybe to save their ass. Is it going to do it? We're going to see Chris Greer and Brian Flores as the people that are in charge when Deshaun Watson finally starts taking snaps here in the aqua and orange or aqua and white and becomes a Miami Dolphin, if indeed he does.
If the top wants it, then the rest follow suit. That's all you can say.
That works,
right? If Stephen Ross wants it, then they're going to do it. And I think at this point there's some desperate feeling at 1-6. We're finding it at the bottom, at the turnstile. People aren't showing up. Finding it. People are apathetic about it because apathy is the worst part. At least if you're angry about the team, you still care about it. Yep. So whether is it going to happen, I don't know. But goodness me, and you're right. You're absolutely right. If John Watson comes in and starts throwing darts and hitting touchdowns, and we start rolling off wins, people aren't going to care about anything but winning. Right. But at the same time, you're still having to manage this. And again, I would not pull the trigger on it until we have it settled one way or the other. But that's just me. And I know that I'm sure the Dolphins are feeling the pressure. I'm sure they're starting to really, really feel the crunch because people are getting, it's restless. Everybody's really, really restless. Like, enough. Okay, we've been through this. Enough. But what are we going to do? Do we do it like we did last year? We lose the first 7, then we turn it around and we're all happy. And then next year we lose the first 7 and turn it around again. That's no way to, manage a team or be a fan, is there? It wears you out. It just bloody wears you out.
Tony Segreto with us here. We're all school with Tony Segreto, an abridged edition, an abbreviated edition. You sound great. You absolutely sound fantastic. You got rid of that guy with the forklift, which is tremendous. There always are going to be extraneous and outside noises when you're coming to us like you are from an airport. We appreciate the effort here. Texas Roadhouse. We were talking about it. I really love that. They were jamming in Lexington when I was there at my Keeneland trip before we got the show started here on Ion Channel. And everywhere you go, and of course, South Florida, Southeast region, Ed Garcia has all of these places hopping. And I would imagine even in the Midwest, if you could find a Texas Roadhouse, that's where you would want to be, Tony Segreto.
Well, absolutely. In fact, I was again last night telling people that how when we were in Elkhart, Indiana, my son wanted a certain kind of sandwich before we embarked on. It was late in the evening after getting in late on a flight, and we decided we would try the Texas Roadhouse first. And there were other restaurants around the Texas Roadhouse. And this was 10:30 at night, and the line outside the Texas Roadhouse was still outside the Texas Roadhouse because it was so crowded. Why? Because the prices are right, the food is spectacular, the service is amazing, and the atmosphere is exactly what you want. You feel safe. You feel like everything is being cleaned because they go over the top. They take cleaning to a brand new level in terms of restaurant sanitation. They prepare all their food. 99.9% of the food is prepared at that restaurant. It's not brought by a truck from, a warehouse that's making all this food and then just kind of bringing it out. They have a butcher at each store cutting their own steaks. They're making their own bread every single day. And I'm telling you, folks, if I know everybody's on this low carb diet deal, if you're going to get off of it at Texas Roadhouse and enjoy every bite of the warm, hot rolls that are served at the table with the special honey butter. There is nothing like it. Texas Roadhouse, special place, coldest beer in town, with chilled lines that actually lead from the tap into your glass, so you get the coldest beer possible. Texas Roadhouse, special place, family, friends, anybody can go at any time and not get sticker shock.
You do it every time, Tony. You make me change my lunch.
I'm starving. Thank you.
Unbelievable. All right, Tony Segreto, more old school with Tony Segreto coming up a little after hours, an extension here on the program on the Ion channel. Glad to have you guys with us. Tony returns in a moment. A couple of other things we want to discuss with the great Tony Segreto. I'm Jeff Deforrest. He's Mike Lubitz. Ion channel presentation of the Defo Show returns in a moment. Now that. It's 9:02. Play the ponies in style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
Hey, folks, Tony Segreto here. What if I told you you could go to a great restaurant, feel completely safe because their COVID protocol is unmatched, have an amazing meal, have a great time. When the bill comes, you won't get sticker shock. You're going to say, that's too good to be true. No, it's not. Because I'm talking about Texas Roadhouse. Great family atmosphere, great atmosphere for a couple, great atmosphere if you just want to go by yourself and watch a game and have the coldest beer in town. And while you're doing that, have the best bread in town. All at Texas Roadhouse. Everything you get there is fresh every day and made sure it's served at your table, hot and ready to go. And the best part is you don't get sticker shock because the prices are amazing. Texas Roadhouse.
Hey, it's Mike Mayo for Even Keel Fish Shack, corner of A1A and Commercial Boulevard at Lauderdale by the Sea. It's my favorite place now for great seafood in a casual beachfront setting. They've got happy hour 4 to 7 Monday through Friday. They've got great dishes like grilled oysters and oysters on the half shell, bang bang shrimp, lobster rolls, octopus. They also have burgers and chicken for those who don't like the seafood. They're open 7 days a week for lunch, dinner, and weekend brunch. Go to Even Keel Fish Shack. Go say hi to Dave and Brad and tell them the Gambling Gourmet sent you.
Recently, we realized it's not just hurricane season that can hurt us. Any time of year, things can happen to your home or business. And the insurance company can be your friend, but they also can be your enemy. Horizon Public Adjusters, Justina Testa, are here for you to help this process go so much easier. Before you call the insurance company, call Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa at 954-809-8752. Would you go into court without an attorney? So why would you go up against an insurance company without Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa? 7 to 10 times more money recovered with a public adjuster than if you went on your own. If there's no recovery, there's no fee. Give them a call at 954-809-8752. Why go up against insurance companies alone when you can have Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa on your side?
Buy or lease a Taos and take it to the house at Deal Volkswagen. Anna and her team make your next VW purchase or lease so easy with new inventory rolling in daily and the biggest selection of certified pre-owned vehicles in the business. You can make your deal online at dealvolkswagen.com or visit the beautiful showroom in the classic location, 3601 Bird Road, right in the heart of the Gables. Or give Anna and the team at Deal a call at 305-448-DEEL. Jettas, Passats, Tiguans, Atlas models, and the hottest vehicle in the industry, the new Taos, all at unbeatable prices and all ready to roll off the showroom floor at the #1 Volkswagen dealership around, Deal Volkswagen. Tony, tell us about your travels, what it's like to be at the airport there 5 hours before the plane.
When you see the number of people carrying bags, some of which are bigger than they are, hoping to put them in that overhead compartment, and the disdain on their face when they're told they can't, the tears they have in their eyes coming down, streaming, how they have to unpack their bags in front of hundreds of people trying to get on their plane. Oh my, the sadness, the anger, all the emotions are being felt. But nothing better than being at the Detroit Metro Airport, where you can get anything from sushi to the best china and glassware that you can find. But it only happens here in Detroit, the Motor City. Only here will you find the birthplace of the modern automobile.
Defo and Lubie love kicking it old school with the legendary Tony Segreto. Big thanks to Catholic Health Services and Texas Roadhouse.
Nobody was better until Rinaldi came along with those soapy, poetic sporting essays than the great Tony Segreto. We put him on the spot last time he was in Detroit. He came up with that on the fly, which is nice, Tony. That was with a lot of distractions also going on around you, as was the case earlier today. Welcome back to the show, a little extended version of our Ion Channel show here, the Defo Show. Jeff Deforrest, Mike Lubie Lubitz, the great Tony Segreto, longtime broadcaster here in South Florida with us, and a man who's on the go, as you can see. I mean, we couldn't connect with him earlier today in his usual slot, but good enough to spend some time with us this morning here, as there are so many different things to discuss. Well, we kind of walked into one, Tony. I don't know if you can appreciate. I'm sure you can, because you've been in broadcasting so long, even longer than I have, which is amazing because you don't look that old. But we had a thing today where we were trying to get Joel Quenneville on the show, the coach of the Florida Panthers. And they're usually very cooperative. And I think Quenneville likes us because we had done an interview with him before, and he really seemed to enjoy himself. And he kind of, sometimes a guy, you close out an interview and the guy says, you say, hey, we'll have to do it again sometime. And he says, oh, yeah, sure, anytime. and then, as soon as he hung up the phone, he said, I will never talk to those assholes again as long as I live. But it's all friendly and gratuitous on the air. But I can kind of tell when there's any kind of genuine, nature to the tone of what a guy's saying. And I felt Quenneville was really happy with the conversation we had, because we spent most of the show talking about harness racing instead of hockey. And he's got the Panthers on the right track. I mean, they couldn't be doing any better. They were showing signs they were ready to break out last year. They ran into the Lightning in the first round, so maybe they didn't go as far as they could have in the playoffs. They had an easier draw in the first couple of rounds. The Lightning went on to win the championship, an age-old thing. Hey, well, we lost in the first round, but at least it was to the eventual champions, which is great. But so we make the call for Quenneville to come on the show today, thinking it was going to be a great day. They're taking on the Bruins tonight here in town, 6-0. #1 team in a lot of people's power rankings now in the NHL, and everything's going great. And we find out the guy's in a jackpot from like 2010 over, again, sexual abuse allegations, where the story goes that in 2010, there was a video technician that was working with the Chicago Blackhawks, where Quenneville was coaching at the time, who made, and Stan Bowman, who is the general manager, was made aware of a sexual assault charge levied against this guy, and then held a meeting that involved Quenneville, where they decided not to do anything about it. And they were going to go ahead and maybe, get the police involved after the Stanley Cup Finals, which in Joe Paterno-like fashion ultimately, equates out to being a disgrace.
Yep.
And now Quenneville is being called on the carpet here. So leave it to us to call and inquire about an interview with Quenneville today. And, this comes out. It came out of nowhere. But this is happening a lot. I mean, we just saw it with Gruden. I don't know what level of accountability Joel Quenneville would have. He seems to be a very decent guy. But, wow, I mean, could any stranger things be happening in the world of sport? Here you have emails by Gruden from several years ago to Bruce Allen, and he's out of football already. And now this is happening again right here on our home turf, possibly with Joel Quenneville, who appeared to be doing everything right when it came to running the Florida Panthers as a team.
I am. How do I pose this? You had to know that once the Gruden story dropped, everybody else would start doing some digging on anything that they thought could get some legs, whether the legs are legitimate or not. And the shame of it is that Glenville could be absolutely innocent, and the shame of it is that Glenville could be absolutely guilty, and the shame of it is that this is all coming out now. And the shame of it is that it shouldn't even be happening. Okay, so you understand the spirit of this. No matter how this turns out, it's going to be a damn shame. And I think that we need to be cognizant that after the Gruden thing again, people are going to be looking, and you better have a clean slate. And again, it goes back to what we were talking about earlier about the Deshaun Watson deal. Is that, do you want this baggage? Do you want this? There's enough distractions. There's enough pressure. There's enough intensity. There's enough going on. Coaching a team and being involved with a professional sports team, and you're managing all of these egos. You're managing, you're trying to get fans in the seats. You're on and on and on and on and on. The last thing you need is all this other stuff. And those are the things that need to be investigated. Those are the things that need to be looked at with the utmost scrutiny. I mean, there cannot be anything left where you could say, I wish I had checked that area and I didn't. Right? The stone unturned. We want to make sure we want to make sure we have an excavator. Okay, the excavator that you heard this morning behind me, you want to be able to have that same one. And you're going to unearth everything until you can figure this out. Right? So, again, you had to know. You had to know as a journalist, for as long as we've been in this, that these shoes are going to drop somewhere along the line, and in other sports and in other areas.
I hadn't seen anything about this investigation, and apparently Stan Bowman, who was the GM there with the Chicago Blackhawks, has already resigned, and this is going to have ramifications in other organizations. Apparently, they had 5 or 6 people at this meeting where they were trying to figure out what to do, and it did. I mean, it wasn't as extensive, and I don't know that any of these stories are good as the Paterno thing, but you had to think, hey, Papa Joe, I mean, as much as we love you, was Sandusky all that great that you had to protect him? Kind of crazy. And we've seen this with Urban Meyer, and it's just an unfortunate thing that what was existing in sports at the time where people didn't know how to handle these kind of cases and didn't want to, jeopardize whatever it was that they had going by coming forward with this stuff.
It's extremely unfortunate. And you're right. Turning a blind eye and hoping it goes away is not the way to settle it. And a lot of these clubs did that at the time. And again, I don't want to lay guilt on anybody until we know all the facts. But again, it's just another distraction. And I just keep shaking my head, saying, okay, and you're right, because quite frankly, when you told me this, I had heard about it like briefly, but did not know all of the entire story. So basically, I'm hearing it for the first, like your version of it for the very first time as well. Since I've been traveling since like 4:30 this morning, and I know a lot of it was last night when we were doing our event. So it's a remarkable turn of events. And again, I think that we're seeing more and more, and I hate to be beating this drum, but again, I want to, let's see teams working with players and coaches of character so they don't have to worry about this, because managing this takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of mending when it's all said and done, regardless of the outcome.
Tony Segredo. Hey, let's talk about a great organization here, Tony. And wow, I experienced their wonderful efforts firsthand. You were giving glowing praise about how Catholic Health Services, they're all about service, and how great they are in relating to whoever they're taking care of, their family, and giving you the correct information. And the hospitals were disgusting. I mean, even a hospital that I had great respect for, where my mother was, we could get nothing out of these people. Zero. They wouldn't tell us what was going on. Every day was another story. Couldn't get a hold of any doctors. And then my mother came under the care of Catholic Health Services, and all we had was complete transparency. You could feel that they actually cared about the patient and the people, their loved one of the patients who were very concerned about their well-being. Really a great organization. And when it comes to any type of recovery, whether it's from a stroke or surgery or whatever it is that you're rehabbing from, Catholic Health Services is absolutely the number one destination, I think, in the world, Tony Segredo, and I say that in all sincerity.
Without question. And I think you brought up a key point here. My wife is currently going through that now with her mother, my mother-in-law, in another state at a hospital where they can't get information. They can't talk to the doctor. They can't, they get a nurse, and all the nurse can tell them is what, she's been told, and they can't get answers. And her mother is going through this period in her life, late in her life, where it's a struggle. And all we want is total transparency. And that's where Catholic Health Services, to your point, really excels. It's all about letting the family know what's going on. And because as it goes, obviously the patient knows what's going on, because whatever they're doing to the patient's aware of. But what about the family? The family needs to know. The family needs to know what to expect when and if this family member comes home, what to do, what not to do, what's going on. And that's where Catholic Health Services excels. They're all about making sure that the family is completely involved, and they're all about making sure that the patient is comfortable, treated with respect, treated with dignity, and treated with the utmost care, with the utmost caring from a compassionate group of people who have a distinct expertise that's rival to none. And I'm honored to be a part of it. I'm honored that your mother was taken care of the way she was, and we couldn't be more proud. And I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it from Jeff, you're hearing it from me. If you have any kind of issue, please call Catholic Health Services. They are here for you. And if they can't help you, they're going to tell you where to go to a place that can, and they're going to be the mirror image of what Catholic Health Services can do.
Great people. As are you, Tony Segredo. Thanks so much for getting involved here in the program. We would have missed you today, and I'm glad you were able to make arrangements to be on the show. We'll do it again next week, 8 to 9 on Wednesday on ION Channel. Have safe travels, my friend, and we'll catch up with you next week. Thanks so much, Tony Segredo, for being with us here on Old School with Tony Segredo.
My honor, guys. See you next week. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Be safe, sir.
All right, sounds good. Sounds like they were boarding that flight real quickly.
They are boarding like now.
All right, great being with you. We'll do it again tomorrow, and this is going to be a very special edition of the show. Jack Namer making all kinds of arrangements here, and we appreciate the efforts of the ION Channel people. Going to try and experiment. Hopefully it'll work out well. Our first live remote from the Champions simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. It'll be the Thursday edition of what used to be our Saturday show, 7 to 9 in the morning, and that'll be the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge, the ultimate sporting quiz show. I mean, if you like Jeopardy and you're enjoying the run of these champions here, which I don't know, is that starting to look like the $64,000 question? A real setup just to draw attention to the program? Come on, say Jack, come clean.
Exactly.
This show, we have many perennial champions, but it's a wild competition. And if you're a sports fan, you're going to love the many different directions the program goes in and the characters on the show, with whom I've been working for 25 years on this particular program. The Polyman Paul Massell, a real original. Thanks, Steve, for mentioning my name. And Dave Gurgles Gurgley, who also you would have to say is a bit unique as a personality. Would you agree, Mike Lubitz? So that's going to be a lot of fun, and you can win something. Do we have the Landlubbers gift certificate we can still give away on the program?
I don't have them in hand, but I presume we can give them away. Landlubbers is on board. They're all in, and I'm sure the great Alex Ufrina and company is very happy to still be highly involved with the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge.
I don't think they want to see Lenny the Chronic in there with like 25 of those gift certificates that he won over the years. I mean, at what point does a statute of limitations end, Lenny? No, we're helping all of our people find us here because it's like you can't be at the game without a scorecard. That was the old adage in baseball. Can't watch the game without a scorecard. But you can't play the game without players. You can't run the game without players. So, and we also have to figure out how we're going to do that. So a lot of technical thinking to be done here over the next, what would it be, almost 24 hours. But we'll be at Hialeah Park tomorrow, and hopefully you guys will join us for the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. It'll be great being with you all morning long. Look for original content after hours on the Believe Podcast Network. That's BelievePodcast.com, or is it Believe.com? How do you find us on that one?
Believe.com, BLEAV.com. Just search After Hours.
Yeah, a lot of interesting stuff happening there with Mike Lubitz and me. Thanks to all of the people at Ion Channel for carrying us once again today. You did a great job with everything. And we'll see you tomorrow from Hialeah Park as we leave you know that.
The time.
Thank you, Albert and Johnny Addy for the outro. It's 9:20.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.